in a row, the longest stretch since 1970. Meanwhile, import prices grew in July by 0.1%. Analysts were expecting a decline there of 0.4%. Stock futures are rising, signaling a rebound after equities fell the most in more than a week. We are seeing better than expected profits from Macy's and Kohl's today, but Macy's also says that it plans to close 14% of its stores, or about 100 of them. S&P futures up 5 points, Dow futures are up 55, NASDAQ futures up 13. And checking NYMEX crude oil this morning, it's little changed right now at $41.68 a barrel. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
Sleep is a good thing, and I think as you get longer in the week, it becomes even more important, to the point that, a nap, a siesta, probably is not a bad idea come Wednesday, Thursday. And what are you going to do that on? Is it going to happen on a cot, maybe on your desk, maybe on your floor, under your cubicle desk, maybe on a delicious bed from Sleep Train? How great would that be? I've often thought, we've got some extra space here. Why not a siesta room? Can you imagine the productivity, how it would skyrocket if we've got, another, Tempur-Pedic or some, beauty rest action, and we had a siesta room? Maybe, much like when you go to get a massage, there's a little bit of, it's dark, quiet. You go in there for an hour and just sack out. How great would that be? If you'd like to have that, maybe you have the extra space, go down and check up the triple choice sale out for a potential mattress. Yeah, in your workspace. I know, what a concept.
I have to think, though, that in some workplaces, not here, but in some workplaces, that if you brought the beds in, I have a feeling they would be doing what they say on that commercial for River Road Pharmacy, which is to have them deliver Viagra to your office. I don't know if you've heard that on their ad or not. Yeah. River Road.
You think there'd be some?
That might possibly. That might be the.
You know what though? If it provides for the total whole, holistically, if it brings your workforce together, so be it.
The triple choice sale ends Sunday. Sleep Train, Corvallis, Albany, Eugene, and Springfield. Tell them somebody sent you.
Local news, local people, Holloway and London, and the wake-up call.
I want you to get up now.
On News Radio 1120, KPNW.
This is really a fun game.
6:30 News Radio 1120 KPNW. Pretty scorching hot day. Might want to wear the Bermudas today to work. Show off those legs. High of 92 degrees. And it just gets warmer from there. Currently 56 degrees at 1120 KPNW. So Rolling Stone's list of supergroups, and we're talking about groups that are kind of like, all-star groups. Top 10. I cannot believe the Highwaymen, number 8.
I can.
You're talking about Johnny Cash, Willie, Waylon, and Chris. I guess the names, you can't judge a band by the names. But then, didn't they put out some good music?
Yeah.
So you think number 8 is passable?
Yeah. Put on the top 10.
Blind Faith with Eric Clapton, Ginger Baker, Steve Winwood at number 6. That band right there. Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, number 5. Temple of the Dog with Chris Cornell and 4 members of Pearl Jam, number 3.
What?
Cream, number 2. And another project with Eric and Ginger. And number 1, what would you think?
Probably the Beatles.
Supergroup? Yeah.
Are you going to tell me that the Beatles weren't a supergroup?
Okay, they were put together and became huge individually. But what we're talking about here is all-star compilations. So in other words, an all-star, hey, we're going to get, Eric together, Chris, names, entities that are established and have them become.
Oh, okay. All right.
Number 1. So That being said, does any band that we haven't mentioned yet?
Yeah, the $1 Million Quartet.
With who?
Johnny Cash, Elvis Presley, Jerry Lee Lewis, and Carl Perkins.
Wow, that's not even in the top 10.
Well, it should be.
I kind of swallowed my tongue a little bit. Yeah, I think they're great, but number one?
I wouldn't put them in that one, but they were good.
Traveling Wilburys. Can you name all the members of? I missed one.
Let's see. Richard Harrison, Jeff Lynne, Bob Dylan, Roy Orbison. I think that was it.
So you had George Harrison,
yeah,
formerly of the Beatles, not Richard. Jeff Lynne,
right,
of
ELO.
ELO. Roy Orbison. Tom Petty.
Oh, that's right.
You got Bob Dylan, who, as I tried to recall, that's who I forgot was part of the band. So this was number one. Yeah, I wonder how come. I mean, because the one that you mentioned.
What, the $1 Million Quartet?
I think could supplant some of these top 10.
Probably because they really didn't. I mean, the bringing them together, most of it was on like basement and bootleg tapes that you'll ever hear it.
Oh.
Which is probably why, but it still happened, and they were the $1 Million Quartet.
So it wasn't like they rocked.
I believe it for a while, and I may be iffy on this. I thought at one point they actually toured together. They performed separately but toured together. I know that Elvis and Cash and Jerry Lee Lewis would show up on same bills early on.
And who was the fourth?
Carl Perkins, who actually, musically, I would argue, was, if you look at their individual talents, they all had something they did really, really well. But Carl Perkins was the best all-around guy of the bunch of them. Musician, songwriter, singer. Did them all real well. Maybe not as good a musician as Jerry Lee Lewis was, maybe not as good a singer as Elvis, and maybe not quite as good a songwriter as Johnny Cash was, but he was good enough.
Combine everything.
Yeah, you combine them all.
He's the decathlete.
Right.
You can do them all.
He's the Jim Thorpe.
Yeah. Very cool. 25 away from 7 o'clock. News Radio 1120 KPNW. As always, if there's anything that we're missing or you would like to expand on, you can always email in 1120kpnw@gmail.com. That being said, apparently an apology is in order. I was talking about a new, somebody that didn't know before, but a gentleman that we're calling Ben, who works out while he listens to the show for a portion of the morning. Got an email from somebody who was taking me to task because they thought I should have known that they work out as well. And that was Cynthia.
Yeah, I got her email too.
Cynthia also works out. And
said that she's been working out to us since pretty much day one. So
yeah, and I should have known that.
Right,
I should have known when they call in or they email.
I think we need to go.
Should feel the.
I think we need to go over to her house and maybe do a little, aerobic exercise or something with her. Maybe a little.
You definitely have one foot out the door because I can't imagine those words ever coming out of your mouth in any other capacity.
Well,
except if you're not here.
That was kind of what I was getting at.
Yeah. So basically, that's going to be me.
I won't be here, so have fun on that.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Yeah.
And by the way, Cynthia, make sure he puts the leg warmers on. You'll love the look.
I've tried it without. You just feel incomplete. All right. We got a break. It's 1120 KPNW. Beautiful morning. 58 currently at KPNW.
Hi, I'm Eric Benson, General Sales Manager at Sutton RV. And I only come on the radio when something truly awesome is happening at the store, which is right now. George and Martha are traveling a bit, leaving, well, me in charge. So I'm doing some incredible deals. Cue the music! Like the 2017 R-Pod 171. The R-Pod combines affordable luxury with the lowest tow weight in its class. Unique design, outstanding construction, built right here in Oregon. And now you can get the R-Pod for a low $14,999 with 0 down and just $131 a month at 3.99% financing for 12 years on approved credit at Oregon Community and Northwest Community Credit Unions. There are lots of other special deals just waiting for you. Now more than ever, you need to start with a stop at Sutton RV. Come see us in Eugene today and see how much you can save while I still have the keys to the store.
Bask in the amber glory of a cool pint of ale and the forested foothills of the Cascades at the 8th Annual Oak Ridge Keg and Cask Festival. This Saturday, August 13th, 2 to 10 p.m. in Uptown Oak Ridge. Local beer and wine, food and crafts, and great live music. Proceeds from the festival go to the nonprofit Oak Ridge Food Box, Trail Stewards, Chamber of Commerce, and the Uptown Association. Enjoy bikes, brews, and live bands at the Keg and Cask Festival this Saturday, 2 to 10 p.m. just 45 miles east of Eugene on Highway 58. This message is sponsored by Upper Willamette Community Development and Ears.
If you're building a home or remodeling your kitchen or bath, Worldwide Granite should be your first call. Their friendly staff will make the process easy from start to finish. They offer design consultation and treat every client like they are the only client. With a warehouse stocked with over 30 colors of granite and marble, you'll find exactly what you need. For quality, selection, and value, make Worldwide Granite your first stop, located on West 11th near Bertelson. Visit eugenegranite.com.
I have to get to sleep.
Tom had a stressful day, and now he can't shut down at bedtime.
Need sleep.
To fall asleep fast, millions of people turn to Unisom sleep gels. They're non-habit forming and quickly help you sleep soundly so you wake recharged. Tom? Unisom sleep gels. A stressful day deserves a restful night. Use as directed. Active ingredient diphenhydramine hydrochloride.
Neighborhoods all over the country are on high alert after another one has gone missing. Taylor Alloway is on the scene.
Despite the best efforts of law enforcement, the criminals remain at large. I spoke with the police moments ago.
96 elephants are lost every day. We just don't have enough of a force to protect them all against poaching.
At the rate they're disappearing, there will be no elephants left to lose in 10 years.
And that's a crime against us all. Stop the ivory trade. Fight the crime. Go to 96elephants.org.
KPNW weather brought to you by Ramjack West. Do you have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Get your free quote at ramjackwest.com.
Good morning to you and yours. Temps out there right now in the mid to low 50s. Fairly calm conditions with mostly clear skies. Light winds out of the north at 5 to 10. And there's a light haze, but that haze isn't fog. It's smoke from a wildfire up by Portland. That means it isn't going anywhere. Now, over the last couple of days, we've been tracking a ridge of high pressure out over the water. It moved in overnight. That means today is the first of a 3-day heat wave. Temps dramatically going up this afternoon into the low 90s with a few low 100s out there. Clear skies will dominate. Winds will pick up out of the north in the afternoon at 10 to 20. Gusts up to 25, providing a light breeze. But if you're going to be out and about, stay hydrated. Try to stay out of the sun and be prepared for these extreme temps to take their toll on you. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation, the NBC 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a fantastic day and you can stay cool in this weather.
What happens next happens here on the Wake Up Call on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
All right, so coming up in November, you, yes, you, the voter, are going to have a chance to vote on Measure 97. It was also known as IP 28, Initiative Petition 28. And essentially what it is it's a gross receipts tax on businesses making over $25 million a year here in Oregon. Now, it's a tax of 2.5% on gross receipts, and what that means is on anything they make. So this is before you do any write-offs. This isn't on the net. This is on the gross, everything, which some businesses, like, for instance, if you look at grocery stores, they have a margin of just about 2.5%. So one of the arguments against it has to do with people, the average person, are going to see things cost more. Well, to talk a little bit about this is Nicole Kading. She is joining us this morning from the Taxpayer Foundation, and she's on the Wake Up Call. Thanks for being with us, Nicole. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me this morning.
Yeah. So some folks think that, this is a novel thing for Oregon. We're going to do something that nobody else has done before. This has never been done, and it's going to bring in all of this money, $2 billion a year for the state to spend. And there actually is historical precedence here in the U.S. for these gross receipts tax, correct?
There is, and what we find if we look historically at gross receipts taxes is that these are a tax that most states have actually rejected because of the large downstream economic effects from them. Only 5 states actually have a gross receipts tax currently, and we just released a new paper yesterday, actually, at the Tax Foundation, that looked at a few states that have gotten rid of their gross receipts tax in recent years and asked the question why, and really tried to delve into what was it that made those 4 states decide this sort of tax is not the way to raise revenue.
Okay, so Indiana, New Jersey, Kentucky, and Michigan all at one point or another adopted a gross receipts tax. And what happened?
And what we found when we dug into this, and these are the 4 states that have repealed their gross receipts taxes since 2000. That's why we picked them. Gross receipts taxes, for your listeners, were really popular in the 1930s, but that's when most states got rid of them. And what you found is that all 4 of these states decided to repeal their taxes, largely because of those negative economic effects. What I found was most striking is that actually in the case of Kentucky and New Jersey, they instituted their tax and then repealed them within about 3 years because of all of the economic harm that was being done. And what we do in this report is we have quotes in here from legislators, from governors, from tax commissions, from academics, all basically saying the same thing in these 4 states. My favorite quote is from the former governor of Michigan, or sorry, the current governor of Michigan, Rick Snyder, when Michigan repealed their gross receipts tax around 2010. He called it the dumbest tax in the United States.
Well, okay, let's explain why that this is the dumbest tax in the United States. What kind of problems were inherent or are inherent with the gross receipts tax that is pretty constant from state to state to state?
The easiest way to explain this is if we first imagine a sales tax. If we imagine a sales tax, of course, you all in Oregon don't have one, but if you did, and let's say you went to the grocery store and you decided to buy a gallon of milk.
Right.
You would pay your sales tax on that gallon of milk on whatever the price is, say 5% of the $3 for the gallon of milk, and the grocery store would collect and remit that to the state or the locality that was assessing the sales tax.
Okay.
But with a gross receipts tax, we actually would be taxing all of the steps of production on that gallon of milk. So the dairy would be taxed, the packager would be taxed, the wholesaler would be taxed, the distributor would be taxed, the grocery store would be taxed, so that by the time you as the consumer bought that gallon of milk, the price of that gallon of milk has now increased because every step of production has now become more expensive. There's an economist at the Northwestern Economic Research Center there in Oregon that has been describing this as a sales tax on steroids, and I think that's a great description of what would happen with a gross receipts tax.
Okay, so let's say that you have a sales tax, you're paying 5% extra on this gallon of milk. How much extra then on the gallon of milk are you paying if you're doing a gross receipts tax?
The state of Washington actually has a gross receipts tax, and so I'm going to use their numbers because I think it's a great comparison. What they found is that tax pyramid, that's the economic term for what's going on average, the tax pyramid's 2.5 times through the production cycle. But if we talk about food manufacturing, it was 6.7 times, meaning that when the consumer buys that gallon of milk, that tax has built up upon itself almost 7 times. That gallon of milk is now much more expensive than it otherwise would be. To put this in a bit more of an Oregon context, the Legislative Research Office, or Legislative Revenue Office, has done some research, and they estimate that prices are going to increase by about 1% in Oregon because of Measure 97.
All right, but when you say 6.7 times, I mean, can you put that in dollars and cents?
Well, so it would be. It's a little harder to do because the Washington B&O has a much lower rates than what Measure 97 is. It's not an exact comparison on that point, but I do think that the LRO number of 1% is the better thing to use. But I will note that what they said.
Well, okay, so then if you're going to use 1%, so you would be, before we were talking about a 5% tax on milk. Now you're saying that essentially we'd be looking at what, a 1% sales tax on milk?
Well, it'd be a 1% increase, but that would be on every stage of production. So really, by the time that consumer got that gallon of milk, depending on how many times it changed hands through its production cycle, that gallon of milk could be 2, 3, 4, 5% more expensive.
All right. Continue with your thought before I interrupt you.
Sure, and I think if we kind of put this in terms of dollar and cents for consumers across all goods and all spectrums, again, going back to that LRO report, they said to imagine this being about a $600 per year increase on households in Oregon, hitting the lower income households more dramatically. Those lower income households, those below $48,000 in income, would lose about 1% of their income a year due to this tax increase.
What would be the expectation, though, as far as, for instance, utility prices?
I do think that the utility prices will increase. I think this is actually the Portland electricity utility has actually come out and said that they will be asking for a rate increase of 3 to 5% because of this tax increase.
Okay.
And because
why
the utilities. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, all right, so 3.5%, it's a 2.5% tax. Why are they asking for an increase so much more than the actual tax?
Well, a large part of this has to do with the fact that it's not just on the final good, it's all of their inputs. So the electricity company has inputs that go into delivering their product. And so they said that, 3 to 5% would be what they would be asking for. And I think other utilities in the state have stated similar sorts of rate increases will be coming. And it's actually an interesting dynamic because utility companies have to get their rate increases approved by the state. So these utilities will go to the state and say, because voters have just passed Measure 97, we now need to raise prices by 3 to 5%.
Nicole Kading joining us on the Wake Up Call. She is with the Tax Foundation. It's the nation's leading independent tax policy research organization. They've been around since 1937, studying taxes. All right, so we've kind of laid out some of the effects of it. What other than costing people more money, and other than being essentially a hidden sales tax, what kind of effects did it actually have on the states themselves? We're told by the unions and those that are fronting for the unions that are pushing for this, that this is going to be great. It's going to be $2 billion more a year that we can spend on all these wonderful things. What happened in those states that enacted them?
So there's a great rule of thumb in tax policy, and that is that you should be aware of any tax that generates a large amount of revenue at a very low rate. Basically what that means is that tax is taxing things that it shouldn't. It's taxing business-to-business transactions. It's taxing transactions that have a lot of economic consequence, and that's really what Measure 97 would do. So it would raise a lot of revenue, but it's those economic effects, and that's what these states like Indiana and New Jersey and Kentucky and Michigan saw. They saw that prices were higher. They saw that businesses were struggling, which meant that they hired fewer workers, or they cut wages, or they lowered benefits, or they didn't expand as quick as they would. And there are numerous experiences in all 4 of these states where they said very clear when they were repealing their gross receipts taxes that the reason we're getting rid of it is because prices are higher and because businesses can't handle this sort of tax, which means that there are fewer people being employed in our state.
A couple of states you mentioned within 2 years. What were the most dramatic effects? I mean, because for a state to turn around and repeal something like that in 2 years, something very dramatic would have had to have happened. What was the most dramatic thing that happened?
Well, so I think if we look at the example of New Jersey, which is a state that got rid of theirs within just a few years. And one of the things that they talked a lot about in New Jersey was the effect that it had actually on startup firms and low-margin firms. So with a traditional corporate income tax, you're only taxing firms that have a profit. So if a firm is perhaps the economy is turning down or their industry is having trouble, and that firm maybe has a year or two that they're not profitable, they're not paying tax. But under a gross receipts tax, that doesn't matter. And so you had firms in New Jersey that were perhaps struggling due to economic conditions that were paying tax, which basically speeds up the rate in which those firms will fail. But what I also thought was fascinating in looking at the New Jersey information was the amount they talked about startup firms. So again, you might have a startup firm that hasn't even hit profitability yet, meaning they're not paying income taxes. But under that gross receipts tax, they are. And so in that initial startup infancy phase where margins are low, there's not a lot of profits to be had, they still were burdened by this tax.
Off the email at 11, by the way, if you want to email us a question, 1120kpnw at gmail.com, Jim asks, is this the same as a value-added tax?
A gross receipts tax and a value-added tax are not the same. With a value-added tax, if we think back to that example of a gallon of milk, if we think about the distributor, for instance, so they would only be taxed on the value that they've added to that transaction. So they would deduct, in essence, the initial cost. What did it cost them to get the milk from the dairy or the packager? With a gross receipts tax, there are no deductions for cost. The full value of the good is taxed at each level of production. So much greater economic consequences from a gross receipts tax than there is from a value-added tax.
All right. I'm just curious, in the states that have had the gross receipts tax and have repealed them, was there any mention of the increase in services or the increase in cost to state government because of the increase in costs overall?
So there's not that the state would not be taxing itself, if I'm understanding.
No. But the state is buying services.
Oh, sure.
The state is feeding prisoners. The state is driving vehicles that they're filling with fuel. They're using electricity. What was, how much was added to the cost of government because of this tax on everything that they consume?
I didn't see specific numbers to that, but that absolutely would be occurring, and you would expect that to be occurring, particularly in Oregon, if Measure 97 passes. Again, the gas, some of the examples you put out are really appropriate. The amount of gasoline that state officials would be putting into their fleet vehicles would be more expensive because of this tax increase. Again, the water utilities that the state purchases, the electricity that it purchases, all of those things would be higher because of Measure 97. I think the other big thing that really jumped out to me as I was looking at these other states' experiences was the difference in the rate. So the Measure 97's tax rate is 2.5%, which seems low if we talk about the fact that personal income taxes are almost 10% in Oregon for higher income individuals. But in all of these states that got rid of their gross receipts tax, the tax rate was actually much lower. They were all basically below 1%. In the case of New Jersey, it was 0.8%. And these states were having large economic consequences at even much lower rates. And so if we extrapolate that out, we would expect that the Oregon experience would be even worse than these states because the tax rate is much higher.
Well, one of the things that don't get talked about much with a 2.5% tax is that many, particularly, we've talked about milk and so on and so forth earlier on today. Most grocery stores run at about 2.5% on margin. That 2.5% is their profit, and they don't make much more than that because they're dealing with scale. It would seem to me that in particular groceries would be the things that most people would probably right off the bat, and their utility bills that they would see really start to increase dramatically. Is that the case in the states that you studied, that was really kind of the canary in the mine for most citizens of those states?
That is true. And what you see is it's not just groceries. You can even make it a bit broader to retailers in general. Retailers tend to be incredibly hard hit by these sorts of taxes, and other states talked about the experience of retailers as well, because of the fact that they really, high volume but very low margin businesses, they get hit a great deal. Wholesalers also, similar sorts of things. We talk about the fact that they are, again, high volume, low margin. If we look at that LRO report that I mentioned, they also hit those two industries, pointed out that retail and wholesale will be hit dramatically by this tax, particularly at 2.5%. But it's not just grocery stores, it's booksellers. I know Powell's there in Portland has talked about a lot that they will struggle with this tax. Car dealers are another sort of tax. But any of these, major sorts of retailers or wholesalers will expect to see higher prices because of that. So your listeners should be prepared to pay more for all of those sorts of goods.
Thank you, Nicole. It was a pleasure talking to you. Give the website real quickly where people can see the study.
Our website is taxfoundation.org.
All right. Nicole Kading on the Wake Up Call. Thank you for joining us this morning to talk about, of course, Measure 97, also used to be known as IP28. It's 6:57, KPNW.
I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Chris with Home Comfort. When we say the one to call,
the one means no matter what the problem.
From security lighting, generator systems, panel changeouts, service upgrades, with technicians available 24/7.
Or HVAC, from routine cleanings to breakdowns. Home Comfort's locally supported by Mitsubishi Electric. So their Mitsubishi Electric factory-trained technicians will ready your house for any season.
Make one call to 541-345-2838.
Home Comfort, the one to call.
Even with the greatest real estate we've seen in a decade, do you realize that 20% of homes go pending and then fall out, which ends up netting you, the seller, less money? The reason? You hired the wrong real estate agent. If you want a great price and have a great experience, hire Harpole Homes with Keller Williams Realty.
Fact, not all agents are created equal. When you sell your house with Eric and Jeanette's team, you get thousands more dollars in your pocket. With the extra money the Harpoles net you, you can take a vacation, pay off debt, or put more down on your next home.
How do the Harpole Homes do it? Negotiating, marketing, and their exclusive certified pre-owned home program. When you hire Harpole Homes to sell your house, they pay for your home inspection up front to take care of the issues to ensure your home stays sold. It's one of 182 steps they follow to get your house sold for top dollar.
For your free information package or to schedule a free consultation, call them 541-286-3030 or check them out at harpolehomes.com. Sell your house this summer with Harpole Homes with Keller Williams Realty. 541-286-3030.
We report, you decide. This is News Radio 1120 KPNW, Eugene, Springfield, USA.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. Someone on the inside blew the whistle. And that's led to a new report from congressional Republicans that the government has not been truthful about the fight against ISIS. Fox's John Decker live at the White House.
The new report by a House Republican task force found that officials from the U.S. Military Central Command skewed intel reports to make it seem as if the war against ISIS and al-Qaeda was going much better than it really was. The report substantiates claims made by 50 whistleblowers at CENTCOM that they were told to water down their intelligence reports on possible terror threats and claim that ISIS was less of a threat than it actually is. The 5-month investigation found no conclusive evidence that White House officials ordered the reports to be doctored. Dave?
John Donald Trump blames President Obama for the situation in the Middle East.
He is the founder of ISIS. He's the founder of ISIS.
And he says Hillary Clinton's the co-founder since the militants rose up on their watch. The Republican will campaign today in Florida. Clinton will be in Michigan detailing what she would do for the economy as president, trying to reach out to more Republicans who might not support Trump.
I will work hard for the next 3 months to earn the support of anyone willing to put our country first.
The rubble of a burned-down apartment building in Maryland is still too unstable to go into all areas and look for several people still unaccounted for. At least 30 others were injured in the midnight explosion and fire there.
We've seen glass shattered on buildings some 500 feet away. Kids were telling us it was like something out of a disaster movie. The injuries ranging from minor to severe, many people jumping out windows.
Melanie Almnick with Fox 5 TV on the scene in Silver Spring. They're mourning a high school football player in South Carolina. The 14-year-old River Bluff High sophomore collapsed at the end of practice last night, then died later at a hospital. Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
Your plan is to make the most out of life. That's why your plan is a Medicare Advantage plan from Pacific Source. It lets you choose from almost any doctor in the region with no deductible. Plus, you get great benefits like prescription drug coverage, protection when you travel, optional dental care, and even discounts on gym memberships. Plans start as low as $39. Pacific Source Medicare, the health plan for all of life's biggest plans. To learn more about our Medicare Advantage plans, call toll-free 888-863-3637, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week. Visit us online at www.medicare.pacificsource.com. Premium and benefits may change on January 1st of each year. You must continue to pay your Medicare Part B premium. The provider network may change at any time. Members will receive notice when necessary. Pacific Source Community Health Plans is an HMO PPO plan with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in Pacific Source Medicare depends on contract renewal.
Stocks are rising on Wall Street. Fox Business Network's Nicole Petalides is live at the New York Stock Exchange.
Trying to squeeze out gains here by the end of the week. In fact, we're seeing the S&P down for the week just fractionally, while the Dow and the Nasdaq are higher for this week. At this moment, the Dow is up 64 points at 18,560, and the Nasdaq gaining 17. And looking at a possible record close at these levels, the S&P 500 gaining just 5. Some of the big movers after quarterly reports: Shake Shack down 7%. Macy's said it's going to be closing 15% of its stores, roughly. Also some job cuts. That's up about 15%. And Kohl's, another one on the move to the upside, up about 13%. Tomorrow we'll get retail sales. Dave.
Thank you, Nicole. The price of oil is up about $0.50. It's over $42 a barrel again. Gas is also slightly higher. AAA's national average for regular is $2.13 a gallon now. There is an update on the most seriously injured of the girls who fell off of a Ferris wheel at a Tennessee County fair Monday night.
6-year-old Briley Ray Reynolds is still in the hospital after she and 2 other girls fell more than 30 feet to the ground during a Ferris wheel ride this week at a county fair in East Tennessee. Her mother, Kimmy Reynolds, said in a Facebook statement that while Briley cannot breathe on her own, she seemed to respond to relatives' voices. Her 10-year-old sister, Kayla, has a broken arm, and a third girl injured has not been identified. Private inspectors of the ride believe a mechanical failure caused the gondola to flip, causing the girls' fall. This as the organizers of the Greene County Fair kept their ride operator despite an incident in North Carolina that hurt 5 and caused the owner's son to be jailed. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
They'll hand out 21 gold medals today in Rio. The U.S. has 32 overall medals so far, the leader. As golf returns to the Olympics for the first time in 112 years, a Brazilian who learned how to play using a tree branch shaped into a club teed up the first shot, hitting a drive right down the fairway. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News Radio.
That's pretty cool. 1120 KPNW 705. You hear those stories about how some of the track stars didn't have a track to train on, so they went to a city park. Didn't even know really, how long 400 meters was, and they're in Olympic competition. You get the idea that if it's in the heart, you don't need to have everything, all the crazy equipment that we are so blessed and gifted to have. High pressure, bringing the high temperatures. Chris Nation along shortly to talk about what we've got the next couple of days, which is going to be just a great bit of warmth. If you like it hot, you'll like today through Saturday. Although Sunday, it's still almost 90 degrees. Talking about the 3-day heat wave. It's going to be nice all weekend long. Currently, 60 degrees at 1120 KPNW.
So we were talking about the gross receipts tax in the previous hour. And I was looking at an email that we got from the Oregon Center for Public Policy. Now, this is a union-backed think tank. And this is what they said. And this just came out, 15 hours ago. And they say the choice is clear with Measure 97, yes to strengthen schools, a no vote, we will endure budget cuts. And it says, this November, Oregonians will face a clear choice. Vote yes for Measure 97 or endure more than $1 billion in cuts to schools and other key public services. It says that an analysis published today shows that Oregon faces a budget shortfall of $1.35 billion in the upcoming budget period. All right. Now, you might want to ask yourself, well, why is that? All right. So, this out of Oregon Live, or off of OregonLive.com. This was an article. It was published late last year. That in the next biennium, you can expect PERS payments to cost the state $2.5 billion a year. Now, I want to ask you, where do you think, they keep saying, well, it's going to be great for education because it's going to go into education. It's going to go to all these things, which, by the way, while that measure suggests where the money should be used, it does not mandate where the money can be used. Okay, there is no mandate in there that says where it should be. All it says is where it could be potentially used. There's nothing there that locks lawmakers into it. You've essentially handed over a couple of $1 billion or more than a couple of billion to lawmakers to spend however they want. Do you think it is going to go into hiring more teachers, improving schools, buying more books, or is it going to simply go into a PERS account? Because that's exactly where it's going to go. It's not going to solve anything, really. I mean, you're not going to see classes get smaller. You know, because that's the thing. Oh, the classes, there's 30, 40 people in a classroom. We've got to get the classroom smaller. It's not going to reduce class size. It's all going to go into retirement benefits. Just about every penny of it. Anyway, you can find out more. If you want to find out more about what the Oregon Center for Public Policy, they have their own website, ocpp.com, if you want to check that out. And then again, there's the Tax Foundation on the other side of things, which we just heard from them a little while ago. You can check them out at taxfoundation.org. So either way, actually, I was wrong. It's ocpp.org, not .com. Anyway, you can check both of them out and kind of make up your own mind about what you think. But another good thing to look up is PERS, because if you listened to the news last week, they also said, oh, yeah, we're actually about $800 million short on our prediction for the next year. Anyway, 710 KPNW.
Mornings really don't make a lot of sense. You've spent the whole night blissfully sleeping, and then you're awakened by a loud noise and you're moving at hyperspeed. There just doesn't seem to be enough time between the alarm and work or school. This is where Burrito Amigos can intervene. You don't have to skip breakfast. Just head to a Burrito Amigos drive-thru. Get your bacon, machaca, sausage, chorizo, or huevos rancheros burritos without ever having to unbuckle a seatbelt. Stop by Burrito Amigos drive-thru at 1333 West 6th in Eugene or 201 42nd Street in Springfield. Not only can you get your favorite burrito, but also a full line of Burrito Amigo espresso drinks, too. Pull up, stop, order, and moments later, you're back on the road with a tasty breakfast, a caffeinated jump starter, and a smile. You can almost say Burrito Amigos enables morning insanity by making breakfast far too easy. Drive-thru with Burrito Amigos in Eugene and Springfield.
In August, you'll find yourself falling for the Subaru A Lot to Love event at Kendall Subaru. With a huge selection
and low sale prices you'll love.
Right now, you'll fall for 0% financing available on 3 of the top Subaru models, including some of our 2016 IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus vehicles, like the 2016 Legacy that's available for 0% for 72 months, equipped with the safety of Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive. Plus, the 2016 Legacy is a KBB.com 2016 Best Resale Value Award winner.
It's hard not to love a car that's safe and affordable.
Discover why Kendall Subaru offers you a lot to love, with excellent prices and great trade-in values. Stop by today or visit KendallSubaruOnline.com to find the Subaru you'll love. Kendall, let's start something great.
Financing at approved credit only on select models. $1,667 for $1,000 borrowed. Not all will qualify. See dealer for more details. Prices do not include title, tax, and dealer dock fee of $150. Subject to prior sale. Offer expires 9/6/16.
You'll hear it here first. This is your wake-up call on News Radio 1120. KPNW.
Good morning. This look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones featuring great breakfast burritos and fresh brewed locally roasted coffee for a tasty start to your morning. Here's what's going on. While the I's are not dotted nor the T's crossed, the city of Eugene is moving ahead with the purchase of eWeb's downtown riverfront property. There's no set price yet, nor is there a sale date. While the city agreed in principle to a purchase of the property some time ago, issues with the sale started to crop up. One of the main sticking points had to do with contamination on that site. Now, Eugene city officials were worried that the city would be liable for cleaning up any environmental contaminants that they found. eWeb has since agreed to identify areas on the 17-acre site that have been polluted, and eWeb will clean it up. The land does not include the eWeb headquarters, but does include other buildings that will likely be torn down. A team from the city and eWeb will begin with negotiations. Once the sale is complete, the city hopes to turn around and sell the property to a developer. Finally, after 2 weeks of a wildfire burning in Crater Lake National Park, there's some good news on the Bybee Creek fire.
The Bybee Creek fire is now 100% contained at 1,072 acres is the size of it. Crews are working on mop-up right now, so that's just cleaning up the edges of the fire to ensure that none of them can go over the edge.
Jennifer Evans with the Bybee Creek Fire Crew confirms 150 fire personnel and 4 helicopters are still going to be working for several days to continue to hold that fire line, mop things up, and continue suppression. The Lightning Springs Trail, by the way, and Backcountry Camp, though, are still closed. Ammon Bundy says a confrontation between Ryan Bundy, his brother, and jail deputies stemmed from his brother's fear that doctors were going to remove a bullet from his shoulder without consent. In a recorded message posted to the Bundy family Facebook page, the jailed Oregon standoff leader said he was awakened early Tuesday by pounding on his cell door. It was Ryan. He was screaming that U.S. Marshals were taking him to the hospital for a surgical procedure. Multnomah County Jail spokesman Captain Steve Alexander said Tuesday he didn't know where Bundy was taken after the altercation. Federal prosecutors declined comment, of course. Ammon Bundy says investigators want the bullet because it's one fired during the January 26 traffic stop that ended with the Oregon State Police fatally shooting Robert Lavoy Finicum. Now, FBI agents failed to disclose and tried to cover up the fact that they also fired rounds in that general direction at Finicum. The grand jury has been reviewing the FBI's actions. A Corvallis man was arrested recently for doing something we might have experienced with our parents or maybe an older sibling on a backcountry road. 26-year-old Ibrahim Mohammed Siala allegedly was purposely swerving his vehicle, trying to entertain his kids. That's when he lost control, and he went into a ditch. He was arrested on reckless driving charges and a pair of charges of reckless endangering. The Drug Enforcement Administration is making an important decision concerning pot today. Brad Ford explains.
Congress has been pushing the DEA to reconsider how it treats marijuana. It's currently a Schedule I substance, which means it has high potential for abuse and no accepted medical value. The DEA could change it to a less restrictive schedule, which would allow medical research. It could also deschedule it, which would remove it from the DEA's control, or the agency could do nothing. Oregon Congressman Earl Blumenauer says it's outrageous that while more than half the states allow medical marijuana or recreational use, while the federal government has blocked marijuana for medical testing. Blumenauer says the DEA should remove the Schedule 1 listing and legalize marijuana. I'm Brad Ford, KPNW.
Actually, we just found out that they did make an announcement. Marijuana advocates who hope the states moving to legalize medical marijuana would soften the federal stance on the drug faced disappointment this morning. The DEA announced that it will keep marijuana illegal for any purpose. The DEA further said that marijuana will remain a Schedule 1 substance under the Controlled Substances Act. Those substances in Schedule 1 are determined by the Food and Drug Administration to have no medical use. States that allow marijuana for medical use or legalize for recreational use still remain in defiance of federal law. Well, legislation headed for the 2017 session would set clear deadlines for public agencies to respond to public records requests, give priority to the public's right to access records, and provide a manual for understanding exemptions to disclosure. Attorney General Ellen Rosenblum proposed the reforms to the public records law based on recommendations by a task force that she formed about 9 months ago. The proposal gives public agencies a 5-day deadline to acknowledge the receipt of public records requests and 10 days to either furnish the records or provide a reason for the delay. The Attorney General's office also would be required to maintain a catalog of disclosure exemptions and make that available free of charge to the public. The language in the legislation also gives priority to the public's right to know. The task force that recommended the changes to the public law includes journalists, state and local governments, other interest groups, and individuals. The task force also plans to examine the fees that public bodies charge for records and consider whether the state should create a position to help the public access records from state government. Oregon Governor Kate Brown reaches into the Midwest for a new state revenue director. Brad Ford has that story.
Oregon Governor Kate Brown has tapped Missouri Department of Revenue Director Nia Ray to head up Oregon's Department of Revenue. Assuming the Oregon Senate confirms her next month, Ray is scheduled to take over on October 10th. The position has been vacant for the last 8 months since the resignation of longtime Revenue Department Chief James Buchholz. He called it quits last December after a scandal involving the Revenue Department's handling of business energy tax credits. Brad Ford, KPNW.
Through the end of September, if you plan to drive on Highway 20, expect detours on the west and east side of I-5 due to road construction closures just west of Eddyville and 26 miles east of Sweet Home at the Sheep Creek Bridge. Many travelers take that route as a scenic trip across the Cascades.
US 20 is closed at the Sheep Creek Bridge between milepost 54 and 56.9. The closure started last week, first week of August, and will run through the end of September.
Angela Beers-Seidel of the Oregon Department of Transportation says there aren't a lot of Sheep Creek Bridge detour options. You can, if you're headed eastbound, you can take Oregon 20 from Lebanon to Highway 226 to Oregon 22, or just take 126 from Springfield. If you're going westbound, you can take 22 to 226 or 126 from Santiam Junction. The big one is going to be actually US 20, the Pioneer Mountain Eddyville project. They'll have overnight road closures that'll start August 14th and last through the end of October. That's right in the area of Eddyville in about a 1-mile stretch. The closures will be happening Sunday through Thursday nights between the hours of 7:30 p.m. and 5:30 a.m. Essentially, if you're headed through that area, you're going to either just have to take Highway 34 to the south or Highway 18 to the north. At 7:20, this look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones. You're up to date from KPNW.
Wake Up Call Sports on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Only 19 years of age, so we should be saying the name Ledecky for a few more Olympics, potentially. Last night, her name, Katie Ledecky, was said repeatedly at the tail end of the 4x200 freestyle relay for the women. It had to do with her taking the race over, being down by close to a second to Australia, before putting it into Ledecky overdrive and winning her third gold. The U.S. men's basketball team had their first challenge in Australia as well, in a game that wasn't a blowout. The Americans were only up 80-76 with about 6 minutes left when Carmelo Anthony popped a couple of threes on the way to 31 points. The U.S. avoided what would be a huge Olympic upset by winning 98-88. Carmelo passes LeBron James with the most career points scored in men's Olympic history. Patty Mills and the Aussies, a staggering 68% from the field in the first half. The women defeated Serbia 110-84. Diana Taurasi dropped 25 for the U.S. Not much talked about, but she should be. Turning 43 today, Kristen Armstrong won her third gold medal in her career in the cycling time trial event, giving her 5-year-old son a lesson in tears of joy. She joined Bonnie Blair as the only 2 American women to win 3 golds in the same Olympic event. And by the way, she's not related to another cyclist with the last name Armstrong. The U.S. leading the planet with 32 medals, 11 of which are golden. Baseball, Prince Fielder officially called it a career as his last few years have been plagued by injuries, notably a second spinal fusion surgery. An emotional Fielder said goodbye with his 2 sons by his side. He's leaving having hit 319 home runs, the same number his father Cecil hit in his career. In Kaiser, the Eugene M's routed the Volcanoes 12-4 behind 15 hits. After winning the first half title, they're at it again, the second best record in the entire Northwest League. Tonight, the third game of an 8-game road trip. Wake Up Call Sports on KPNW, brought to you by Max Muscle. Stop in and check out Emerge, a refreshing energy drink without the negative effects and 14 delicious flavors. On Franklin, across from Market of Choice. News time, 7:22.
KPNW weather, brought to you by Ramjack West. Do you have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Get your free quote at ramjackwest.com.
Good morning to you and yours. Temps out there right now in the mid to low 50s. Fairly calm conditions with mostly clear skies. Light winds out of the north at 5 to 10. And there's a light haze, but that haze isn't fog. It's smoke from a wildfire up by Portland. That means it isn't going anywhere. Now, over the last couple of days, we've been tracking a ridge of high pressure out over the water. It moved in overnight. That means today is the first of a 3-day heat wave. Temps dramatically going up this afternoon into the low 90s with a few low 100s out there. Clear skies will dominate. Winds will pick up out of the north in the afternoon at 10 to 20. Gusts up to 25, providing a light breeze. But if you're going to be out and about, stay hydrated. Try to stay out of the sun and be prepared for these extreme temps to take their toll on you. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation, NBC 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a fantastic day and you can stay cool in this weather.
When you need foundation repairs, turn to the foundation experts at Ramjack West. Get your free in-home evaluation at ramjackwest.com. Serving Oregon and Washington. Choose Ramjack. CCB 146906.
Hi, everybody. This is Don Essig with today's Motivational Minute, sponsored by Eugene's #1 electrical contractor, Builders Electric. Some clever person once countered someone else's complaining with this statement: if you're being kicked in the rear, you must be in front. So guess what? Everyone else has expectations for you just as you have some for yourself. And if they think you aren't accomplishing what they think you're capable of doing, sometimes they give us a little kick in the rear. That means we're still out in front. We can still lead the way in our own lives, showing them that we can do it. If you haven't been kicked in the rear a little bit lately, maybe you need to check your expectation list. It might be too low. This is Don Essig with today's Motivational Minute. I'll be back tomorrow. Until then, have a positive day.
This Motivational Minute was brought to you by Builders Electric, providing honest, reliable, and positive contracting throughout the Willamette Valley since 1960. That's Builders Electric, CCB number 4296.
After an accident, you have the right to choose your own auto body repair shop. Todd's Auto Body will guide you through the insurance process and arrange for a car rental, and safety is Todd's top priority. Your car will be repaired beyond industry standards with a lifetime guarantee. Choose ToddsAutobodyInc.com.
Dairy Mart is here, man. Dairy Mart is there, man. Up and down the valley, they're everywhere you go, man. Stop and come inside, man. Dairy Mart saves time.
August, smack dab in the middle of Oregon's best weather, and Dairy Mart's ready for it. This month, fresh blueberry and yogurt parfaits are just $2.49. Or grab a couple of hot dogs, hot from the deli case. That's just $1.49. Lock Me Dairy specials include a half gallon of fruit punch for only $2.25, or a quart of mint chocolate breeze ice cream for only $2.19. Plus, your friends at Angry Orchard and Hot Valley have 2 text-to-win events through August. 4 of you could win $300 gift cards to Hillsboro's Top Golf Sports Entertainment Facility. free. Or 2 winners will receive a fishing trip for 2 on the Sayusla or Umpqua. Stop into any one of your 43 neighborhood Dairy Mart stores and get what you really want.
Dairy Mart is here, man. Dairy Mart's right here.
Fast, real fast.
If you're going to snack, why not snack the healthy way? Max Muscle has a new snack aisle filled with healthy options like protein bars, protein muffins, chips, jerky. We even have protein pancake mix. Stop in and start snacking. Max Muscle, Franklin Boulevard, across from the Market of Choice.
The Wake Up Call with Holloway and London on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
News Radio 1120 KPNW 726. Great start to the day. Although this may change your mind. We're going to talk a little bit about Obamacare and some premium hikes that are coming up. Come 2017, at least in New York, Obamacare users are going to get not just double-digit premium hikes, but big double-digit premium hikes. The kind that would make you absolutely cringe. To talk a little bit about it this morning, he's the Chief Operating Officer of Ameriflex. He's also a health insurance analyst. It's Bart McCullum joining us on the Wake Up Call. Bart, thanks for being here. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Bill. I appreciate it.
Okay, so we're just in this point, or at least in this story, it was just referring to New York. What kind of increases are those that are enrolled in the federal health plan? And this is all just individuals, correct? This is not, for instance, we're just going to be talking about the individuals, those with the individual plans.
That's correct.
All right. So what kind of increase are they looking at?
Well, Kaiser Family Foundation has done a little study here of the insurers that are offering Affordable Care Act plans for individuals in the 17 metropolitan areas that have submitted requests so far. So we're looking at 17 cities, and we're seeing an average increase of around 10 to 11%. That varies, obviously, based on city, based on market, and everything else. And I've seen it as high as 27% if you're unlucky enough to be living in Nashville. And it's actually going down in a couple of places. But by and large, it's increasing double digits.
All right, and apparently, at least, this is lower than what was asked for by the healthcare providers, which was, what, about 28%?
Yeah, so here's the process. The insurers, they do all their analysis. They look at the risk pool, they look at their losses, and they go and they say, well, here's how much premium we're going to need next year to right the ship. And then each of the individual state insurance regulators can come back and basically put pressure on them to reduce those premiums, and it's kind of a give and take that's happening.
So here in Oregon, we have had a situation where we have actual insurance companies that are getting out of individual coverage. They're just leaving the market, and the reason, and this is something that is going on around the nation. What is the reason for that? Explain to people why that is.
Sure. Well, let's say you're an insurance company and you're participating in an Affordable Care Act exchange, and let's say you've asked for a 24% increase because that's what you need to stay afloat. That's what you need in order to be able to pay health insurance claims. And let's say the state regulator comes back and says, no, you can't do that. Our citizens won't stand for that. You can only do 10%. Eventually, it's going to be unsustainable, and you're just going to say, you know what, I'm going to pull the plug, and I'm going to go find some other market to be. And that's kind of what's happening.
All right. So, as we watch these companies, and here in Oregon, I mean, we're watching them drop out on a fairly regular basis to where it only seems like I think there's 3 or 4 insurance companies that are left still willing to take on these, individual clients. I mean, are we going to get to a point, unless something is adjusted with Obamacare, that we're only going to have maybe 1 or 2 just huge insurance companies that are going to be handling these individuals on the plan?
That's a great question. And there are actually a lot of markets where that's already the case. One of the largest insurers, United Healthcare, has already said that they're pulling out of potentially pulling out of all of the exchanges in 2017 because they're going to lose over $1 billion this year. I think, optimistically, I can tell you it's almost a certainty that something will change with this law. Probably not until after the big election, but something's going to have to give, and you will see changes to it.
All right. Well, what kind of changes would you expect then?
Well, that's a great question. It depends obviously on who gets elected president. What I can tell you is the law was unpopular on both sides of the aisle at the time it was passed, and significantly so, to the point that vast majority of the people that were in Congress at the time are no longer there. We've turned over most of our representatives and most of our senators, and so on both sides of the aisle, the people that are making the laws today, and clearly, there's going to be a new president. All of those people aren't committed to this law and are more likely to distance themselves from it. So you'll see more open discussion across the aisles about what we can do to tweak it.
Okay, you say tweak it. What tweak needs to happen to keep these hikes from, 11%? As you said, if you happen to live in Nashville, it's 27%. What kind of tweak needs to be made? I mean, what are the options if this, Obamacare plan is going to continue on? What tweaks need to be made to it?
Obamacare has to change the foundation. So the foundation of the healthcare system in this country is called fee-for-service. It's based on the way Medicare pays claims, and it basically incentivizes doctors and hospitals to overtreat and to order tests that may be unnecessary because they're going to get compensated for that. And it's very easy to do that when you're telling yourself, well, of course I'm going to do that. I don't want to leave anything to chance. There's all kinds of other ways that we can incentivize healthcare providers. We can bring consumers in and have them take on more responsibility and make it look like other markets where they actually can see pricing and they can have a more deep relationship with their doctor. There's all kinds of things we can do, but until we change that fee-for-service model fundamentally, we're going to continue to see price increases like this.
All right. Bart, we appreciate you joining us on the Wake Up Call this morning. Thanks.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right. You take care. Bart McCullum, Operating Officer of Ameriflex, President and Chief Operating Officer, actually, of Ameriflex, and a health insurance analyst on the Wake Up Call. Good morning. It is 7:34.
The Bloomberg Market Report, sponsored by Pacific Continental Bank, serving your business and community in Eugene for over 40 years.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Stocks are rebounding this Thursday on better than forecast profits at Macy's. Macy's jumping on its plan to close about 14% of its stores. Macy's told investors that its store closing plan will ultimately help the company increase sales at its existing locations. There is never a dull moment at Valiant Pharmaceuticals. The company said that it is cooperating with a criminal probe by federal prosecutors who are investigating whether the drug maker defrauded insurers by hiding its ties to a mail-order pharmacy. That's according to the Wall Street Journal. Shake Shack tumbling in early trading after same-store sales missed analyst estimates as the restaurant industry is facing a tough environment with rising labor costs. Mercedes-Benz remains on course to reclaim the luxury car lead this year for the first time in a decade. Sales rose at more than twice the pace of arch-rival BMW through July. The company has been boosted by a sportier lineup and a new crop of SUVs. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Pacific Continental Bank is proud to call the Eugene-Springfield area home for more than 40 years. As your local banker, partner, and neighbor, we are committed to the health and sustainability of your business and our community. We know it takes more than a loan or deposit to help you succeed. It takes people who know you, your business, and your community. Who says we can't be more than a bank? Pacific Continental Bank, the right bank. Learn more at therightbank.com. Member FDIC.
At Michelob Ultra, we know it's not just about how much you work out every day. It's about how much you work into every day, too. That's why we brew a beer for those who realize that expending calories should never come at the expense of spending time with friends. And for those who understand that just because you work out doesn't mean you can't go out. Hey, that's why we brew Michelob Ultra to have 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, and an exceptional taste. Michelob Ultra, brewed for those who go the extra mile. Enjoy responsibly. 2016 Michelob Ultra Light Beer. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, 0.6 grams protein, 0 grams fat per 12 ounces.
Slipknot. Live in concert.
And of Mice and Men. Get tickets now at livenation.com.
You're unique, so why is your mattress one size fits all? Because a custom mattress costs thousands, until now. Hi, I'm Christian von Rickenbach, founder of HelixSleep.com, where you can buy a mattress online, customized for you, for hundreds of dollars instead of thousands. Go to HelixSleep.com, answer a few simple questions, and we build you the most comfortable mattress you'll ever sleep on. Shipping is free, and you have 100 nights to try it out. Go to HelixSleep.com/go and get $50 off your order. HelixSleep.com/go.
Home foreclosure can be a nightmare. A couple of missed house payments, and before you know it, your house is being sold right from underneath you. If you don't think it can happen to you or anyone you know, think again. A government-sponsored program can help you keep your home. Certified counselors are available to work with you and can help deal with your lender. And this service is completely free. Call the National Foundation for Credit Counseling at 866-687-6322 or visit mortgagehelpnow.org.
Here's Denture Masters and Implant Center patient Steve.
After years of lots of dental bills and crowns and extractions, and I finally just made the decision to go to Denture Masters. Called Vicki right away. It's the best move I ever made. I've just been very, very happy with the way I was treated there. I wish that I'd done it sooner. For the cost of the implants, it was well worth the investment. I mean, it's just like having your own teeth.
Call today and learn how you can maximize 2 years of insurance benefits.
That's the Denture Masters difference.
KPNW weather brought to you by Ramjack West. Do you have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Get your free quote at ramjackwest.com.
Good morning. If you're headed out that door in the next few minutes or you're already out and about, fairly mild conditions. Temps right now are in the mid to low 50s. Light winds out of the north at 5 to 10. Mostly clear skies, and we have a light haze, but that's not fog. It's smoke coming from a couple wildfires up by Portland. Now, as we move through the day, high pressure looks to dominate. This will be the first day of a 3-day heat wave. High pressure setting up over us with low pressure we call surface thermal low in development. What do you need to know? That these two are combining to intensify the sun's energy. That means this afternoon, highs will be in the low 90s to a couple of low 100s out there. Be prepared for extreme heat. Try to stay out of the sun and stay hydrated. It's going to last 3 full days before the system starts to break down Saturday night, and a small chance that rain moves in Sunday. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation, NBC 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a fantastic day and you can stay cool in this heat.
The top stories and the most in-depth local coverage.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, for your listening and dancing enjoyment.
The Wake Up Call with Holloway in London. News Radio 1120 KPNW.
News Radio 1120 KPNW. 740. A gorgeous start to the day. Well, yesterday, if you were listening, we told you that a Lane County jury awarded a local area woman $1.4 million in a sexual harassment suit against a Eugene neurosurgeon in his business. Cherie Bergstrom was the plaintiff in the case, and she was suing Dr. Glenn Kuiper, whom she says during her time as a surgical technologist from 2008 to 2015 that he was sexually harassing her. So, joining us on the Wake Up Call this morning, after reaching out to us, Cherie Bergstrom joins us on the Wake Up Call. Cherie, thanks for being with us this morning.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, our pleasure. So, this went on for, 7 years during your time with Dr. Kuiper?
It's 6 years, yeah.
6 years, 2008 to 2015.
Right.
I think just anybody seeing those dates and hearing that you were suing for sexual harassment would say, and would ask this simple question first: why did you put up with it for 7 years?
You know, it's interesting. My counselor explained it to me as a grooming process. You know, initially, it's all, you're so good at your job, you know, you're wonderful, you're pretty, I like you being around. It's a build-up, building of trust, and then it slowly starts to change to kind of moderate comments that are a little weird. Okay, you can excuse that. And over time, excuse me, it just gets more and more aggressive. until you finally realize what's really going on, and then there's a breakdown and it's done. But yeah, if you'd asked me 4 years ago if I thought I was a victim, I would have told you were crazy, because I didn't see it. I was blind to it.
So what was, if you're willing to talk about it, what was that moment where you went, okay, this is over, whatever that line is?
My breaking point, you mean?
Well, not necessarily your breaking point, but when did, as you call it, the grooming period get to the point where it crossed over to the line where you went, wait a minute, stop, this is not right. What was that? What was that event?
You know, I don't know that there was a single event. That's what's interesting about being victimized. Your mindset is, you're just in denial for so long, but it just started to get, like, I don't know if, you know, I don't like that. Like, now he's bringing in other people, and I felt weird about the situation. You know, it really, I noticed a real build-up and change once I got married. He was really upset about the fact that I got married, and comments started to get more aggressive, and then they started bringing, you know, my husband into the comments. I got really upset about that. You know, that was...
Well, what kind of what kind of comments, and if they get really graphic, of course, you know, kind of edit. But what kind of comments were these that he was making?
Well, he was asking me to go home with him. He was asking me to take vacations with him. He was asking very specific things about what I liked and what I didn't like, and
when you say liked and didn't like, are you talking about sexually?
Yes. Without getting too graphic, yes.
And when he would ask those kind of questions, how would you respond to him?
A lot of times I would say, you know, I'm married. Don't talk like that. You know, a lot of times I would just roll my eyes at him. It just depended on the situation and how I was feeling that day, but
yeah,
there's only so much saying no you can do before you just give up.
Cherie,
you know, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I said I had gone, you know, to my supervisor. I had gone to the CEO, and I wasn't getting any help. And so eventually you just give up because it's going nowhere, and you feel like if you keep complaining, it's just going to get worse.
Whether you came up with it on your own, or maybe legal counsel or a counselor or somebody kind of planted the answer, if you had it to do over again, how would you have handled it? If you could go back in time, how would you redo things?
That's an interesting question. Yeah, I wouldn't have gone to work there in the first place. I had a good job already. But if I had been in the situation, I don't know, because I tried so hard to get a job while I was there. I was trying to escape, you know, as early as 2010. And I just couldn't find a job. I didn't know what else to do. I mean, maybe I should have broke down sooner, but if I hadn't had a job, you know, what are you supposed to do when you're a single mom and you have 3 kids? I felt very stuck.
When, you know, I asked the question earlier, when, you know, these little kind of surreptitious comments crossed over the line into, you know, blunt harassment, what was the event that led up to you finally just saying, you know what, I quit?
There was a surgery day where he made some very graphic comments to me, and at this point, I didn't know if I even just cared about my job at all or what, but I was so angry, and even the circulating nurse that tried against me had made a comment about what a pig he was, and you know, she had never heard anything that bad before, and it just sort of resonated with me. And that was a Thursday, and the following Monday, I had some kind of weird triggering event. It was not even related, but my husband came in and said something about the heat thermometer being set to Celsius, and I just exploded. It broke down. crying, told him the whole story, and at that point he's like, "You're done. You're not going back. We're gonna figure out a way to take care of this."
Up to that point, your husband had no idea?
He had no idea. I was afraid to tell him because I knew that he wouldn't let me work there anymore. I know it sounds crazy, but
no,
I just felt like I needed a job. I didn't know how else to take care of my family, and I knew that he was very protective, and he wants the best for me. But I was afraid that he would say, "No, you're not going back," which is exactly what he did say eventually. But
so I'm kind of curious what it was when you went above the Dr. Kuiper's head, when you went above and went to the CEO and so on and so forth. What did they just kind of nod? Were they patronizing? Did they at least pay lip service? All right, we'll get right on this and take care of it. I mean, what was their response to you?
Well, my immediate supervisor was sympathetic, and she said she took my complaints, to the CEO, and the CEO assured her that she would take care of it, and nothing was ever done. I never got any more questions. I was never asked to fill anything out. And later, when I finally went to the CEO, she was very dismissive. It was, well, you only have to work with them a day and a half a week. And that when you're in that position, already feeling oppressed, and then the person that's supposed to be helping you basically pulls their hand back, you just feel crushed. And at that point, I knew there was no help for me in that building, none.
Cherie Bergstrom joining us on the Wake Up call this morning. At any point, did you say, "Look, if you don't handle this, I'm gonna lawyer up, and I'll handle it"? At any point did you make that threat, or did you only do that after you turned in your walking papers?
Yeah, no, that was after. I never considered litigation while I was still working there. He's a very prominent figure in the medical community here, and I really didn't want to burn any bridges. I didn't want to cause any problems. I just wanted to find another job and move on. But after the fact, I had to do something to get my voice back, to get back my power. And what other option do I have besides litigation? It was really the only thing I could do to prove that he was wrong and I was right, and I needed to stand up for myself.
Okay, just a second. Cherie Bergstrom joining us on the Wake Up call this morning, and we're talking about the $1.4 million lawsuit that she just won in a sexual harassment case against Dr. Glenn Kuiper and the Surgical Spine Center of Eugene. One of the things that was made mention of in the story as it went around was that Kuiper's attorney said that there was a substantial error in the case. And what exactly was, because I believe as I was talking yesterday, what was this so-called substantial error?
Well, there was another lady that had filed a similar allegations in 2010. I had never met her. I didn't know about this, but she testified in my trial, and it was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking, the things that she had alleged, and I don't know why she never sued, but I'm happy to be able to stand up and maybe give her some of her voice back too.
Well,
validate her.
But it doesn't answer the question of the substantial error. Okay, so she had this problem in 2010. Mm-hmm. How is that a legal error for appeal?
Well, his lawyer didn't want that to be part of the case. That's all. Okay. He wanted it to be completely kicked out, and it wasn't, because it did have some meaning here in this trial. So
relevance.
Yeah, relevance.
Cherie,
right.
For somebody out there that maybe is going through the same thing and probably feels like you did, pigeonholed, kind of up against the wall, maybe they have kids, something of that nature, maybe they haven't even recognized what they're enduring is abuse. From somebody who's gone through it, and only from somebody who's gone through it, what would you say to them?
I say don't make excuses for someone's bad behavior. You don't have to take it. And our jury system here in the United States is amazing. 12 strangers that had never met me before sided with me, and that was an amazing feeling. They didn't know me, they didn't know him. They just heard the story, and they stood up for me, and that was such an amazing moment. Yeah, I don't know how to explain that, but I want every woman out there that's being victimized right now to realize there are people out there that will stand up for them. Don't be afraid.
We talked about some of the different things that he did. Did it ever get physical? Did he ever physically do anything that? I mean, I don't know how to put it. Groping. I mean, did any, or was it mostly, or was it all verbal?
No, there was definitely touching, and I'd rather not discuss that on the radio. But
okay, that's fair.
Yeah, it was very uncomfortable, and it did go much past verbal.
All right. One of our listeners asked, how much of the $1.4 million did the lawyers get?
Well, that depends on whether or not he goes for an appeal. So I really don't know the answer to that question yet. I know a big portion of the punitive damages will go to the state for other victim causes, and that's great. And I think it's around 40 to 50% is what the lawyers will get.
Yeah. You talked about the one person that testified. Were there other people that came out of the woodwork that said that they had similar dealings with Dr. Kuiper?
I haven't seen any yet, but I've heard that there are others. So if there are, I hope they can stand up and say something now. I hope they're not afraid anymore. I don't know what else to say about that.
So was Kuiper there when they read the verdict?
No, he wasn't. That was interesting.
So really, as the plaintiff, he wasn't there when the verdict was read? No,
he wasn't. That seemed like a very weak thing to avoid, as if he knew he was going to lose, so he just avoided. But
so
that was a winning moment for me.
I'm curious, when what did you think? I mean, before the verdict was read, obviously you get the message. All right, the jury has a verdict. You're called back into the courtroom. As you're going back in there, did you have any indication? I mean, what was going through your head as to whether you were going to win or lose or not? What were you thinking?
I was just praying to God and hoping that the people saw the truth. If you had seen the trial, their side had fabricated so many lies that it just fell apart. It was really kind of embarrassing, but our side stuck to the truth. We never varied. It's easy to stay consistent when you're telling the truth. It's hard to stay consistent when you're making up lies. And the jury saw that.
All right. Cherie, I want to thank you for joining us on the Wake Up Call this morning and just kind of sharing your story with us. Again, if you just tuned in and we're listening to this, that is Cherie Bergstrom. She sued Dr. Glenn Kuiper, whom she worked with for about 6 years, in a sexual harassment suit that she just won. Cherie, thanks for sharing your story with us this morning. We appreciate it.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. You take care.
All right, you too.
It's 7:54 News Radio 1120 KPNW. All right, so you have just a short time to head down to Sleep Train for the Triple Choice Sale, which ends this coming Sunday. That's right, it ends this Sunday. So don't make us come over to your house and give you that good, firm talking to that we're always threatening, because we will do it. If you don't head in for the Triple Choice Sale and you need a new mattress, the tongue lashing is coming. Rob's going to start first, all right? Rob's going to soften you up. He's going to batter you around. He's going to do the tenderizing.
And don't think I'm going to be delicate either.
Yeah, and then I'm going to do the scorching. It won't be pleasant. You won't like it. And we will not bring complimentary donuts. Wow. So you know. No complimentary donuts for you.
You'd think he'd be sweet on his way out the door.
No.
Triple choice sale ending Sunday. Talking about 3 choices very quickly. Choice number 1, about $300 off on Beauty Rest and Posturepedic. 2, you can choose maybe $300 in free sleep gifts. We're talking about sheets, supportive pillows when you go the Tempur-Pedic route. Or number 3, about 4 years interest-free financing on Beauty Rest Black Hybrid A. Sleep Train Luxury Exclusive. Plus, pay no money down, subject to credit approval. Tripling your choices since 1985 there. And a friend of the Wake Up Call. It is Sleep Train. We love them. We think you will too. In Eugene, Springfield, Corvallis, and Salem. And tell them you're like this with the Wake Up Call. Sleep Train.
If you're thinking about a new RV or an RV upgrade, don't make a decision without seeing what the RV Corral can do for you. At the RV Corral, serving you is at the top of their list. It all starts with their newly expanding award-winning service and parts department. Are you looking to sell or consign your RV? The RV Corral will buy your RV for cash or free consignment. High trade-in allowance too. With local owners for 28 years and all local employees, the RV Corral will be there to help you make your RV dreams come true. Easy to find on Highway 99, 1 mile south of Belline. Buy anywhere else, you'll pay too much.
I have to get to sleep.
Tom had a stressful day, and now he can't shut down at bedtime.
Need sleep.
To fall asleep fast, millions of people turn to Unisom sleep gels. They're non-habit forming and quickly help you sleep soundly so you wake recharged. Tom? Unisom sleep gels. A stressful day deserves a restful night. Use as directed. Active ingredient diphenhydramine hydrochloride.
Neighborhoods all over the country are on high alert after another one has gone missing. Taylor Alloway is on the scene.
Despite the best efforts of law enforcement, the criminals remain at large. I spoke with the police moments ago.
96 elephants are lost every day. We just don't have enough of a force to protect them all against poaching.
At the rate they're disappearing, there will be no elephants left to lose in 10 years.
And that's a crime against us all. Stop the ivory trade. Fight the crime. Go to 96elephants.org.
The Wake Up Call with Holloway in London on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Shift into savings now at your local Kubota dealer. Take on the tough jobs in a tractor you'll be proud to own. A powerful Kubota Standard L Series. With the right combination of dependable horsepower, high-quality construction, and ease of operation, they're perfect for the independent property owner. Now get financing as low as 0% APR for up to 5 years. Now through September 30th, 2016. Call toll-free 1-800-794-4992 for details about costs and terms. Mid-Valley Tractor, family-owned for over 30 years. Just a mile and a half past the Beltline on Highway 99.
KPNW weather brought to you by Ramjack West. Do you have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Get your free quote at ramjackwest.com.
Good morning to you and yours. Temps out there right now in the mid to low 50s. Fairly calm conditions with mostly clear skies. Light winds out of the north at 5 to 10. And there's a light haze, but that haze isn't fog. It's smoke from a wildfire up by Portland. That means it isn't going anywhere. Now, over the last couple of days, we've been tracking a ridge of high pressure out over the water. It moved in overnight. That means today is the first of a 3-day heat wave. Temps dramatically going up this afternoon into the low 90s with a few low 100s out there. Clear skies will dominate. Winds will pick up out of the north in the afternoon at 10 to 20. Gusts up to 25, providing a light breeze. But if you're going to be out and about, stay hydrated. Try to stay out of the sun and be prepared for these extreme temps to take their toll on you. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation, the NBC 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a fantastic day and you can stay cool in this weather.
Depend on us for breaking news from the local neighborhood to the global one. We are News Radio 1120 KPNW, Eugene, Springfield.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. How would Hillary Clinton try to improve the economy as president? She'll tell us in a few hours. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, in a speech at a manufacturing company near Detroit, Clinton is expected to go after Trump's proposed economic policies, portraying them as handouts for the rich. The Democratic presidential nominee is not expected to unveil any major new policies in her speech, but will likely make the case that the Republican nominee's plans amount to trickle-down economics that will hurt the economy. Clinton has said during her first 100 days in office, she will make the biggest investments in jobs since World War II. She's also vowed to rebuild the nation's roads and bridges. Dave.
Now, Rachel, Donald Trump will be campaigning in Florida the day after saying President Obama is the founder of ISIS since the Islamic militants rose up under his watch.
That is typical
Trumpian stupidity.
Congressman Democrat Steve Israel. House Republicans citing whistleblowers say the Obama administration was not truthful, telling us about ISIS ignoring their own intelligence.
They were politicizing it, manipulating it, making it look like America was being more successful against ISIS than we really were.
Congressman Mike Pompeo.
They wanted to tell a story that ISIS was the JV, that we had al-Qaeda on the run.
The White House has said it did not pressure anyone to manipulate intelligence. Several people are still unaccounted for the morning after an explosion rocked a Maryland apartment building.
As firefighters arrived here at the Flower Blanche Apartments, neighbors were already frantically trying to rescue those who were trapped inside the upper stories. Some were able to grab ladders to try to help folks get out. Others had to jump out of their windows. And as the fire was quickly spreading, some parents were forced to drop their children from the windows to neighbors below.
Fox's Garrett Tenney in Silver Spring, more than 30 people were injured. Macy's is going to bag some jobs. The retailer will close about 100 stores next year and invest more in online sales. Investors like that. Macy's stock's up 15%, but the Dow's up 110. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
This tip of the week brought to you by Neurospine Institute.
Neurospine Institute is a healing place that offers sophisticated diagnostic and surgical services with a range of treatment options. Their specialists are leaders in their profession in addressing back and neck injuries, pain management, and sports medicine. Treatments include neurosurgery, physical therapy, minimally invasive procedures, and pain management. Equipped with sophisticated diagnostic and surgical capabilities, plus a caring staff committed to each patient's well-being. They'll work closely with your primary care or referring physician to ensure the best care and treatment for your unique situation. Visit neurospinellc.com today and get your life back.
Are you living with chronic pain? The specialists at Neurospine Institute can diagnose the problem and develop a personalized treatment plan to address your symptoms. Their comprehensive services include clinical and surgical procedures, sports medicine, physical therapy, medical imaging, and pain management. Neurospine Institute's medical professionals will work closely with your primary care or referring physician to ensure that you receive the best care and treatment. They serve all of Western Oregon with 2 locations, the main campus in Eugene and their Roseburg clinic. Visit neurospinellc.com today and get your life back.
NATO is concerned about the rising tension between Russia and Ukraine. An official says the U.S.-led alliance is monitoring the situation closely and that Russia has provided no proof of its accusation Ukraine sent saboteurs to carry out attacks in Crimea. Ukraine's president has ordered its army to be on combat alert. There are reports out of Syria of a gas attack hitting a rebel-held area of Aleppo, something the Syrian government denies. Fox's Jessica Gallagher is live in our Middle East bureau.
Dave, a Syrian military official denying reports of a chlorine gas attack on a rebel-held district of the besieged city of Aleppo. The official telling the Associated Press the Syrian army would never use chemical weapons. Special UN envoy to Syria, Stefan de Mistura.
Really not for me to assess who did it and whether it actually took. But if it did take place, it is a war crime.
A Syrian rescue worker says a mother and 2 children died as a result of the alleged gas attack. Dave.
And Jessica, in Michigan, some angry Muslims are suing a Detroit suburb.
The vote by the Sterling Heights, Michigan Planning Board cited traffic concerns when it turned down the mosque, but scores of people gathered outside City Hall cheering the decision, and Muslims like Khalil Abbas felt it was discrimination that fueled the decision.
The hatred I felt walking out of that meeting was unbelievable. I've never felt anything like that before. And my niece personally had her scarf pulled down while she was walking out.
Now a lawsuit's being filed and the Justice Department Civil Rights Division is investigating. Sterling Heights officials are withholding comment until they can review the suit. Gary Baumgarten, Fox News.
At the Olympics, they'll hand out 21 more gold medals today. The U.S. leads the overall medal count with 32. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News Radio.
Man, it is pretty out there. Welcome into a gorgeous Thursday. High pressure bringing high temperatures. Solar energy high of 92. Clearing 58 overnight. 97 degrees or thereabouts Friday and Saturday. Down to 88 on Sunday. Currently 61 at 1120 KPNW. Talking to Cherie, who was sexually harassed by Dr. Kuiper and won the lawsuit over $1 million. It reminds me of a conversation that we had when I was doing a morning show at another station, and we were riveted for about a half hour. This woman had gone through the same thing and never told her husband, much like Cherie did. And he, the husband, thought that she, not Cherie, another woman that we were talking to, was having an affair with her. And he was in the medical field as well. And there was nothing going on. She was just being harassed almost identically to what Cherie went through. So to the point where it doesn't come out until they were headed to divorce. And I said, well, was there ever, why didn't that, once that fact came out, why didn't that, change everything and kind of bring the relationship back together? And they said by that point, things were, it was fringe, much too late. And you're like, whew. So the whole idea where he thought that there was an affair, instead of him just coming out and going, okay, instead of her saying, okay, here's what's going on, people just kind of kept it in, the other person could tell if something was a straight, but couldn't put their finger on it, and they ended up going through a divorce.
Well, unfortunately, it didn't happen to her, and
right.
in her case, kind of an opposite thing, getting married, while this is going on.
Kind of gave her the Team Cherie, a little support to kind of stand on her own feet.
Well, but I don't know. I wonder why. I should have asked why she didn't tell her. Well,
she said
she did mention, that he would have forced her to quit.
I get it. If you're a single parent and you got three kids before she got married, you can totally understand why she felt like she was powerless.
One of the folks emailed us and said she sounds like she's somewhat broken. Did you get that kind of feeling? I don't know that. I don't know. Is broken the right word for it? I could
she
tell
definitely was emotional.
Yeah,
she didn't sound like an opopportunist, like she was just trying to go in there. And,
that was not the hit that I got.
Win the money, and she was moving on. It was, sincerity is what I got from her, and emotional and wanting to move on. All right, Conley coming up. Also, we're going to have the crew from the MBA, the Mackenzie Business Association, coming in to chat later in the hour, and we'll get news too. Stand by. It's all coming up right here. Wake Up Call, live and local on 1120 KPNW.
Hi, I'm Bill London. As a bacon fan, it has occurred to me that because bacon is so singularly good, it may actually not be from this planet. It may have been brought here by some superior creature as an offering of peace and goodwill, and Burrito Amigos may be their portal. The first suspicious point is Burrito Amigos uses not one but two types of bacon in their burritos. I know, no one else does that. The other oddity is that you can get bacon burritos right up into the evening at Burrito Amigos, which is suspicious to say the least. Beyond the bacon burritos, the folks at Burrito Amigos are actually friendly. They care you're happy, well taken care of, and satisfied with your meal. That is not a typical thing on this planet. But the big tip-off, the burritos are wrapped in aluminum foil to protect your meal from some sort of nefarious burrito control. The Grays are notorious for that. Burrito Amigos, out-of-this-world bacon burritos with portals in Eugene and Springfield. The Wake Up Call is live on air and online from the Widmer Brothers studio, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 9. Click on the Wake Up Call banner on KPNW.com and see and hear up-to-the-minute news as well as interviews and more. The Wake Up Call goes down easy, just like a Widmer ale.
Sun Automotive is proud to sponsor the Northwest edition of Lars Larson. Sun Automotive, with locations in Eugene and Springfield, reminds you, stay safe on the road, keep your car well maintained, and don't text and drive. Sun Automotive.
Bask in the amber glory of a cool pint of ale and the forested foothills of the Cascades at the 8th Annual Oak Ridge Keg and Cask Festival. This Saturday, August 13th, 2 to 10 p.m. in Uptown Oak Ridge. Local beer and wine, food and crafts, and great live music. Proceeds from the festival go to the nonprofit Oak Ridge Food Box, Trail Stewards, Chamber of Commerce, and the Uptown Association. Enjoy bikes, brews, and live bands at the Keg and Cask Festival this Saturday, 2 to 10 p.m. just 45 miles east of Eugene on Highway 58. This message is sponsored by Upper Willamette Community Development and Ears.
Today's top stories. In depth. This is the Wake Up Call on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Good morning. This look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones featuring great breakfast burritos and fresh brewed locally roasted coffee. for a tasty start to your morning.
Here's what's going on. Well, it's not an I's dotted, T's crossed kind of thing, but the city of Eugene is moving ahead in its own sort of circuitous, slow way to purchase eWeb's downtown riverfront property. So there's no set price, there's no sale date. And while the city agreed in principle to a purchase of the property a long time ago, issues with the sale cropped up. One of the main sticking points had to do with industrial contamination at the site. Well, Eugene city officials were worried that the city would be liable for cleaning up any environmental contaminants on the property if they bought it directly from eWeb. So eWeb has said now that they will identify areas on the 17-acre site that are polluted, and they will clean it up out of their own pocket. That land actually out of their ratepayers' pocket. The land doesn't include the eWeb headquarters, but it does include other buildings that will likely be torn down. A team from the city and eWeb will begin negotiations. Once the sale is complete, the city hopes to turn around and sell that property to a developer. Finally, after 2 weeks of a wildfire burning in Crater Lake National Park, there's some good news on the Bybee Creek fire.
The Bybee Creek fire is now 100% contained at 1,072 acres is the size of it. Crews are working on mop-up right now, so that's just cleaning up the edges of the fire to ensure that none of them can go over the edge.
Jennifer Evans with the Bybee Creek Fire Crew confirms 150 personnel and 4 helicopters are still working on the fire line, mopping up and continuing suppression. The Lightning Springs Trail and the backcountry camp, though, still remain closed. Ammon Bundy says a confrontation between his brother Ryan Bundy and jail deputies stemmed from Ryan's fear that doctors were going to remove a bullet from his shoulder without consent. In a recorded message posted to the Bundy Ranch Facebook page, the jailed Oregon standoff leader said he was awakened early Tuesday by pounding on his cell door. It was Ryan saying U.S. Marshals were taking him to the hospital for a surgical procedure. Multnomah County Jail spokesman Captain Steve Alexander said he didn't know where Bundy was taken after the altercation, which doesn't even make sense. Federal prosecutors declined comment. Ammon Bundy says investigators want the bullet because it's one fired by the FBI during the January 26 traffic stop that ended with the Oregon State Police fatally shooting Robert Lavoy Finicum. FBI agents failed to disclose and actively tried to cover up the fact that they fired rounds that missed Finicum, and a grand jury has been reviewing their actions. The Drug Enforcement Administration made an important decision on marijuana today. Marijuana advocates had hoped that the cascade of states moving to legalize medical marijuana would soften the federal stance on the drug that they all faced disappointment today as the Drug Enforcement Administration said they're keeping marijuana illegal for any purpose. Marijuana will remain a Schedule I substance under the Controlled Substances Act. Now, substances in Schedule I are determined by the Food and Drug Administration to have no medical use. States that allow medical marijuana or legalize recreational marijuana remain in defiance of federal law. The announcement was made this morning by the DEA. In reaching its conclusion, the DEA said a Health and Human Services evaluation shows marijuana has no, and I'm quoting, currently accepted medical use because, and again quoting, the drug's chemistry is not known and reproducible. There are no adequate safety studies. There are no adequate and well-controlled studies proving efficacy. The drug is not accepted by qualified experts, and the scientific evidence is not widely available. They further went on to say there is no evidence that there is a consensus among qualified experts that marijuana is safe and effective for use in treating a specific recognized disorder. All right. In other news, legislation headed for the 2017 session would set clearer deadlines for public agencies to respond to public records requests, given priority to the public's right to access records, and provide a manual for understanding exemptions to a disclosure. Attorney General Ellen Rosenblum proposed the reforms to the public records law based on recommendations by a task force she formed about 9 months ago.
ago. The proposal gives public agencies a 5-day deadline to acknowledge receipt of public records requests and 10 days to either furnish records or provide a reason for the delay. The Attorney General's office would also require or be required to maintain a catalog of disclosure exemptions and make them available free of charge to the public. The language in the legislation also gives priority to the public's right to know. The task force that recommended the changes to the public records law includes journalists, state and local governments, and other interest groups and individuals. The task force also plans to examine the fees that public bodies charge for records and consider whether the state should create a position to help the public records be accessed from state government. Oregon Governor Kate Brown reaches into the Midwest for a new state revenue director. Brad Ford has more.
Oregon Governor Kate Brown has tapped Missouri Department of Revenue Director Nia Ray to head up Oregon's Department of Revenue. Assuming the Oregon Senate confirms her next month, Ray is scheduled to take over on October 10th. The position has been vacant for the last 8 months since the resignation of longtime Revenue Department Chief James Buchholz. He called it quits last December after a scandal involving the Revenue Department's handling of business energy tax credits. Brad Ford, KPNW.
Well, through the end of September, if you plan on driving Highway 20, either east or west of I-5, you're going to run into some problems. There's construction and road closures happening just west of Eddyville towards the Oregon coast and 26 miles east of Sweet Home at the Sheep Creek Bridge. A lot of travelers take that particular route as a scenic trip across Oregon.
US 20 is closed at the Sheep Creek Bridge between milepost 54 and 56.9. The closure started last week, first week of August, and will run through the end of September.
Angela Beer-Seidel of the Oregon Department of Transportation says there aren't a lot of Sheep Creek detour options, although you can travel Highway 20 from Lebanon to Oregon 226 and then head over to Oregon 22 or just take 126 from Springfield. Westbound travelers can take Oregon 22 to 226 or just head back on 126. As far as Highway 20 at Pioneer Mountain and Eddyville is concerned, they're going to have overnight closures that'll start August 14th, and they'll last through the end of October for about a mile-long stretch around the Eddyville area. Closures will happen Sundays through Thursdays between 7:30 and 5:30 a.m. The only detours there, you can take Oregon 18 to the north or Highway 34 to the south to get around that particular closure. The Oregon Health Authority is telling beachgoers, particularly kids and the elderly, to stay out of the water at Rockaway Beach in Tillamook County and Seal Rock State Park near Newport. The Health Authority says water samples show higher than normal levels of fecal bacteria, which can cause all sorts of problems, ranging from diarrhea to skin rashes to upper respiratory infections. The increased bacteria levels in the ocean can come from the shore and inland sources, including animal waste, stormwater runoff, sewer overflows, you name it. Besides the ocean, they also say beachgoers need to avoid wading in nearby creeks and pools of water on the beach. A man and a woman have been sentenced to over 2 years in prison for nearly starving to death 2 children under the age of 6 in their care. John and Danielle Yates of rural Yamhill County were sentenced as part of a deal with prosecutors. Each pleaded guilty to 3 counts of criminal mistreatment for withholding food. When the children left the couple's home, they weighed only a few ounces more than they did 2 years earlier when they were 4. Doctors said both preschoolers could have died had the starvation lasted any longer. The case also prompted a $30 million lawsuit against the Oregon Department of Human Services, with lawyers for the siblings accusing child welfare caseworkers and their supervisors and managers of overlooking repeated complaints. Does this sound familiar at all? Even remotely? Tonight and tomorrow, the Perseid meteor showers expected to peak with double the normal number of meteors. Scientists could say that it could result in over 200 meteors per hour. The best time for viewing is between midnight tonight and about 2 a.m. in the morning. Weather-wise, it should be great. Clear skies are expected. Experts say the viewing is best if you're looking northeast. It's 8:20. This look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones. You're up to date from KPNW.
Wake Up Call Sports on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
She's only 19, so we should be saying the name Ledecky for a few more Olympics, potentially. Last night, her name, Katie Ledecky, was said repeatedly at the tail end of the 4x200 freestyle relay, and it had to do with her taking the race over, being down by close to a second to Australia before putting it into Ledecky overdrive and winning her third gold. The U.S. men's basketball team had their first challenge of the games against Australia, oddly enough. The Americans were only up 80-76 with about 6 minutes left when Carmelo Anthony stepped up and popped a couple of threes on the way to 31 points. U.S. avoided what would be a huge Olympic upset by winning 98-88. Carmelo passes LeBron with the most career points scored in men's Olympic history. Patty Mills and the Aussies shot 68% for the first half. U.S. women defeated Serbia on the basketball court 110-84. Not much talked about, but worthy of some, and that's 43-year-old today, actually, Kristen Armstrong, winning her third gold medal in her career in the cycling time trial event, giving her 5-year-old son a lesson in tears of joy. She joins Bonnie Blair as the only American woman to win 3 golds in the same Olympic event, and she's not related to another cyclist with the last name Armstrong. The U.S., by the way, leads the planet with 32 medals, 11 of which are golden. Baseball, Prince Fielder officially called it a career as his last few years have been plagued by injuries, notably a second spinal fusion surgery. An emotional Fielder said goodbye with his 2 sons by his side. Oddly enough, he's leaving with 319 home runs, the same number his father Cecil hit in his career. In Kaiser, the Eugene M's routed the Volcanoes 12-4 behind 15 hits. After winning the first half title, they've got a good chance to go for number 2, second best record in the entire Northwest League. Tonight, the third game of an 8-game road trip. Wake Up Call Sports on KPNW, brought to you by Max Muscle. Stop in and check out Emerge, a refreshing energy drink without negative effects, and there's 14 delicious flavors on Franklin across from Market of Choice. News time, 8:23.
KPNW weather brought to you by Ramjack West. Do you have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Get your free quote at ramjackwest.com.
Good morning. If you're headed out that door in the next few minutes or you're already out and about, fairly mild conditions. Temps right now are in the mid to low 50s. Light winds out of the north at 5 to 10. Mostly clear skies, and we have a light haze, but that's not fog. It's smoke coming from a couple wildfires up by Portland. Now, as we move through the day, high pressure looks to dominate. This will be the first day of a 3-day heat wave. High pressure setting up over us with low pressure we call surface thermal low in development. What do you need to know? That these two are combining to intensify the sun's energy. That means this afternoon, highs will be in the low 90s to a couple of low 100s out there. Be prepared for extreme heat. Try to stay out of the sun and stay hydrated. It's going to last 3 full days before the system starts to break down Saturday night, and a small chance that rain moves in Sunday. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation, the NBC 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a fantastic day and you can stay cool in this heat.
Does your home or business have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Discover why Ramjack is the only foundation company you'll ever need. Get your free in-home evaluation at ramjackwest.com. Choose Ramjack. CCB 146906.
I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Chris with Home Comfort. When we say the one to call,
the one means no matter what the problem.
From security lighting, generator systems, panel changeouts, service upgrades, with technicians available 24/7.
Or HVAC, from routine cleanings to breakdowns. Home Comfort's an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer. So our highly skilled technicians will ready your house for any season.
Make one call to 541-345-2838.
Home Comfort, the one to call.
When it comes to Honda power equipment at low prices, think Ramsey Waite. We have Honda lawnmowers on site, like the HRX 217 mower, featuring the 4-in-1 Versamo system. Ramsey Waite has an extensive line of Honda generators, including the recreational, super quiet EU 2000i.
Don't just dream about it, wait for it.
Ramsey Waite Superstore.
Honda.
Open Monday through Saturday, Franklin Boulevard, Glenwood.
Check us out at RamseyWaite.com.
If you're going to snack, why not snack the healthy way? Max Muscle has a new snack aisle filled with healthy options like protein bars, protein muffins, chips, jerky. We even have protein pancake mix. Stop in and start snacking. Max Muscle, Franklin Boulevard, across from the Market of Choice.
Watch where you sit because the chairs are on fire this August at Three Rivers Casino Resort in Florence. Come beat the heat with even hotter seats in our scorching matching $50,000 hot seat giveaway. Drawings will be held every half hour between 11 a.m. and 10 p.m. August 6th and 20th. Visit threeriverscasino.com for all the details. Then, attention all music lovers. Ziggy Stardust will be playing his guitar once again at Three Rivers Casino Resort in Florence. That's right, this September 16th and 17th, we'll host the phenomenal tribute performance Space Oddity, featuring David Brighton as David Bowie. Tickets start at just $14.99. Reserve your seats now by visiting threeriverscasino.com and experience the genius of David Bowie once again. Don't miss this blazing hot cash and Bowie bonanza at Three Rivers Casino Resort, because things are luckier here.
Hi, this is Erin. Want to sneak away for a yummy lunch? How about sizzling fajitas? Maybe you need a place to meet with your clients where you can enjoy a great meal and be comfortable chatting. Chapala has a great lunch menu with 2 convenient locations, 29th and Willamette and Oakway Center. Lunch has never been so good. We also offer party platters to go, just the right selection to keep everyone in your office happy. Why not make Chapala's your next lunch date?
Chapala Mexican restaurant. So good.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, it is my profound pleasure to introduce
The Wake Up Call on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
News Radio 1120 KPNW. Good morning. Welcome to the Wake Up Call. It's a pretty nice morning out there, 27 after 8 o'clock, and it's time once again for a visit from the president of Conley Capital, Gary Conley, joining us on the Wake Up Call. Welcome back again for a Thursday visit.
As per usual, right?
Yep. So normally we do a word of the day, and we do the word of the day after we do the little segment, but today we're going to talk about the word of the day. So today's word is what?
Volatile.
Okay. So in terms of economics, finances, etc., what does that actually mean? What's the definition?
Well, the second definition of volatile in the dictionary that I pulled up is liable to change rapidly and unpredictably, especially for the worse. So, and from a financial standpoint, there are a lot of different ways to measure volatility, and you can trade it, and you can trade changes in volatility, and none of that is relevant to probably nearly anybody out there, or to what I do or do you do. The average guy in the street doesn't do anything at all with that. But we're really, as we've discussed before, we're in two places. We are in the age of no return, and maybe no return from where we are, but in this case, no return on your money. And we're also in the age of information overload, if you think about it. I mean, you have to be very careful, particularly if you're investing your money, in terms of what you actually ingest. And it's just, you think Facebook, Twitter, the news feeds, everything else. There's just way too much information out there. I think that contributes to the amount of volatility. And for the average guy out there who's investing his money, whether he's a professional or not, volatility really causes a lot of anxiety because it moves quickly. It's the antonym, or the opposite, is stable, and rapid, unpredictable changes cause anxiety, which essentially lead to bad decisions.
And you can see the kind of the way that works on Wall Street when, like for instance, Brexit, and everything went nuts for a few days until everybody realized, oh, this actually is going to work itself out.
Yeah, and then and actually in that particular case, that turns out to have been a buying opportunity for a lot of different things, the market in general. So you have a couple of ways that you can think about volatility. Number one is you can try to avoid it, which means there are an awful lot of things that you can't be in. As I said, the opposite of volatile is stable, which would have been a certificate of deposit, still is, except, again, as I said, we're in the age of no return. Or you can try to figure out how to harness the volatility.
So if you're trying to avoid volatility, briefly, what are some sectors that would be considered really volatile?
Well, everything. It's actually relative.
Yeah.
I mean, the market's pretty volatile right now. The bond market's pretty volatile, things that used to be considered stable. But those are not volatile necessarily compared to, let's say, sectors like precious metals or biotech. And anybody who's listened for long knows that I'm a fan of biotech, that sector in terms of growth. But that's a really, really volatile sector. If you look at the Standard & Poor's 500 over the last couple of years or few years, it's had a few 10% corrections and a couple of 20% corrections. Okay, or if you look at the biotech sector, over the last 10 years, that's had 10% corrections and has averaged 130% correction a year. And in the last year and a half or so, it went down 50% after tripling over the 2.5 years before that. So there's a lot of volatility in there. If you're not in the sector, or if you're not in a mutual fund, let's say, or an ETF, exchange-traded fund that owns a bunch of biotech stocks, the individual stocks are even more volatile, or can be even more volatile. So it's very common for that stuff to move 5% in a day. And if you get something that throws you off your game in terms of, let's say, a stock or a sector like that, because of the volatility, it causes a bunch of anxiety and basically makes people cough them up or puke them up, as they say on the street, at the wrong time. That's what makes bottoms.
So how do you try to control, because you brought that up and we kind of got off on a different track, how does one go about controlling volatility?
Well, you can't control the volatility, but if you're going to try to harness it or take advantage of it, you have to, number one, not watch too carefully in terms of the minute-to-minute, day-to-day, week-to-week kinds of things that happen. The noise, basically, the price gyrations. And then you've really got to have some real conviction about what it is that you're invested in, so that the volatility doesn't basically cause you to blow up or again cough up your position at the end of the time. And you do that by being careful about what you watch, being relatively careful about what you're in, if you're talking about individual stocks, and make sure that you know what you're betting on. In the case of if you were so bold as to be in an individual biotech stock, you've got to know what kind of technology you're betting on, and you've got to be pretty flexible in case something happens there. Now, what we're actually working on, and are about 90% of the way there with biotech and with the gold mining stocks funds, which is another sector, is a way to harness the volatility by being in part of the time and out part of the time, based essentially on a technical or not technical in the sense of charts, but a mathematical system that's that we've developed that looks like it works pretty well in real time for a short period of time, and works quite well with a regression analysis that goes back over the last 5 and 15 years. So our thought is that, as opposed to trying to avoid volatility because there's no return in that and no growth in that, for people who need growth, you've got to figure out some way to harness it. Part of the way to not get scared out is to not be using borrowed money, so you're not leveraged. And the other thing is that you don't necessarily have to be in it, whatever it is, 100% or 100% of the time.
So I guess really the upshot is, don't be afraid of volatility, just understand what it can cause.
That's right. That's right. And remember, we've talked before that anybody who knows something well, it doesn't have to be an investment, but anything, that people who are expert or semi-expert in things only use 3 or 4 things, 3 or 4 data points to make a decision. And once they get past that, the decisions decay. That's research that was done by the CIA decades ago. So I don't think being afraid of volatility is the right answer. It's a question of how do you manage it. Not only how do you manage it from an investment standpoint, but maybe even more importantly, how are you going to manage it from a psychological standpoint?
And that's what, just kind of ignorance is bliss on a day-to-day basis or a moment-by-moment basis? In other words, don't watch the stock tickers on CNBC?
Yeah, don't watch CNBC at all. Not only do I not watch CNBC, but I don't read the Financial Times anymore. I don't read the Wall Street Journal anymore. Most of the stuff I get comes from various analytical services that I pay for. Most of it, of course, now is delivered over the internet. So, yeah, you've got to be very careful about what you watch, particularly in the short term. And you've got to know and have some conviction about what it is that you're in and what you're doing. Now, that being said, the biotech stock that we were talking about a few minutes ago is also the poster child for being flexible. Because if you've got an individual stock, you're essentially betting on a technology. And usually it's a fairly early stage technology if you're trying to make some kind of multiples on your money, as opposed to grinding along with the Standard & Poor's. So if you get some data that comes out that shows that the technology really doesn't work or doesn't work as well as you think, you've got to be flexible enough to take your bump, which can easily be 35 or 40% overnight on one of those kinds of announcements, and just simply toss in the towel.
Is there a way that, as you're looking at these different, like for instance, you're talking biotechs, is there a way to look at those where you've got a better chance of picking a winner?
Well, you've got to decide whether the technology makes sense, number one. The second thing you've got to decide is how big is the market if this actually works. And the third thing that you have to be careful of is how is this thing going to be financed? Because oftentimes these very early stage companies don't have any revenue. So, let's say they're in a clinical trial, a stage 1 or a stage 2, let's say a stage 2 clinical trial. Have they raised enough money? Do they have enough money so that they can see this trial through to the results, to see what actually happens? If they don't, and they have to keep selling stock, the thing will collapse of its own weight, whether the science turns out to be good or not.
Other than what they being that particular stock is offering in terms of information, how can you, because it is experimental, where can you go for other information to try and see if the actual science might back their claims, or at least the theoretical science might back the claims of what they're trying to do?
Well, that's pretty difficult because you can, you can look on the clinical trials website that the FDA keeps, but there's a real problem now with, let's don't say exactly bogus, but shaded research, because there isn't any money and there's no glory in what would be sort of fact-checking or validating research to see if it can be repeated. And so there's an awful lot of published stuff, not just in the biotechnology field, but in all kinds of scientific fields, up to, it looks like maybe up to 40%, that's biased and really doesn't work. So one of the things that...
And this is what the FDA is basing their decisions on?
Well, part of it, yeah. Part of
good.
It. And the other thing is that a lot of these, all of these clinical trials are supposed to be reported so that they go into a database. But many of the ones that don't work don't ever get reported. So one of the things that you have to combine this fundamental analysis that we're talking about with what's called technical analysis, or simply the price action of the stocks, because often, maybe not quite so much in biotechnology, but often the old saw on Wall Street is the news follows the tape. In other words, the prices move before the news actually comes out. And so knowing something about how these things behave is often a clue to how the stuff is doing.
All right. What's the nugget? What's the takeaway?
Well, I think the takeaway is, in terms of volatility, is that you need to understand it and try not to be afraid of it. figure out how you're going to deal with it, even if you're just running your own 401k with Standard & Poor's fund in it. And I think the real takeaway for the average guy out there who's trying to accumulate money is get out of debt, keep saving, and do whatever you can to protect your job or your income stream, because that's really your most valuable asset in the age of no returns. Because everything else, as with the volatility and the biotechs and the stuff that we kind of wandered off into today, very, very speculative.
All right. Gary Connolly with Connolly Capital. You can go online, connollycapital.com, find out more about him and what he does. It is News Radio 1120 KPNW and 842.
The Bloomberg Market Report, sponsored by Pacific Continental Bank, serving your business and community in Eugene for over 40 years.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Stocks are gaining on better than forecast earnings at Macy's. Stocks have surged to all-time highs in recent sessions, boosted by earnings, improving economic data, and optimism central banks will stay supportive of growth. Dow Chemical and DuPont face 3 more months of haggling over their merger with European Union antitrust regulators. The deal would create the world's largest chemicals company. The EU says it wants to know if it would reduce competition in crop protection, seeds, and certain petrochemicals. Internet-connected cars and other everyday products have become the fastest-growing part of the wireless industry, adding more links to mobile phones and tablets combined in the second quarter. AT&T dominated revenue and connected devices. That's according to analyst Chetan Sharma. Online retailers that sell merchandise linked to Pokemon Go are cashing in. Online sales for Pokemon-branded items more than doubled in July. Among the companies that are benefiting, Build-A-Bear, Party City, Hasbro, and GameStop. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg.
Pacific Continental Bank is proud to call the Eugene-Springfield area home for more than 40 years. As your local banker, partner, and neighbor, we are committed to the health and sustainability of your business and our community. We know it takes more than a loan or deposit to help you succeed. It takes people who know you, your business, and your community. Who says we can't be more than a bank? Pacific Continental Bank, the right bank. Learn more at therightbank.com. Member FDIC.
Shift into savings now at your local Kubota dealer. Take on the tough jobs in a tractor you'll be proud to own. A powerful Kubota Standard L Series. With the right combination of dependable horsepower, high-quality construction, and ease of operation, they're perfect for the independent property owner. Now get financing as low as 0% APR for up to 5 years. Now through September 30th, 2016. Call toll-free 1-800-794-4992 for details about costs and terms. Mid-Valley Tractor, family-owned for over 30 years, just a mile and a half past the Beltline on Highway 99.
Your plan is to make the most out of life. That's why your plan is a Medicare Advantage plan from Pacific Source. It lets you choose from almost any doctor in the region with no deductible. Plus, you get great benefits like prescription drug coverage, protection when you travel, optional dental care, and even discounts on gym memberships. Plans start as low as $39. Pacific Source Medicare, the health plan for all of life's biggest plans. To learn more about our Medicare Advantage plans, call toll-free 888-863-3637, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week. Visit us online at www.medicare.pacificsource.com. Premium and benefits may change on January 1st of each year. You must continue to pay your Medicare Part B premium. The provider network may change at any time. Members will receive notice when necessary. Pacific Source Community Health Plans is an HMO PPO plan with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in Pacific Source Medicare depends on contract renewal.
Slipknot. Live in concert. With Marilyn Manson. And Of Mice and Men. Get tickets now at livenation.com.
You're unique, so why is your mattress one size fits all? Because a custom mattress costs thousands, until now. Hi, I'm Christian von Rickenbach, founder of HelixSleep.com, where you can buy a mattress online, customized for you, for hundreds of dollars instead of thousands. Go to HelixSleep.com, answer a few simple questions, and we build you the most comfortable mattress you'll ever sleep on. Shipping is free, and you have 100 nights to try it out. Go to HelixSleep.com/go and get $50 off your order. HelixSleep.com/go.
KPNW weather brought to you by Ramjack West. Do you have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Get your free quote at ramjackwest.com.
Good morning to you and yours. Temps out there right now in the mid to low 50s. Fairly calm conditions with mostly clear skies. Light winds out of the north at 5 to 10. And there is a light haze, but that haze isn't fog. It's smoke from a wildfire up by Portland. That means it isn't going anywhere. Now, over the last couple of days, we've been tracking a ridge of high pressure out over the water. It moved in overnight. That means today is the first of a 3-day heat wave. Temps dramatically going up this afternoon into the low 90s with a few low 100s out there. Clear skies will dominate. Winds will pick up out of the north in the afternoon at 10 to 20. Gusts up to 25, providing a light breeze. But if you're going to be out and about, stay hydrated. Try to stay out of the sun and be prepared for these extreme temps to take their toll on you. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation, NBC 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a fantastic day and you can stay cool in this weather.
We have a nice cast on the show, ladies and gentlemen, that consists of
Holloway in London. The Wake Up Call. Wake Up Call. News Radio 1120. KPNW.
So we're adding to the cast from the McKenzie Business Association. Lance Lefevre from Thorpe, Purdy, and Jewett, and D'Angio Russo from Marshall's Heating and AC, and to chat about the MBA. Lance, let's start with you. For somebody that is not familiar with the McKenzie Business Association, talk about the MBA through your eyes and ears. How would you tell somebody that you were on maybe sitting on an airplane with what it's all about?
Well, the McKenzie Business Association is a networking group that gets together weekly, and it's formed in 1974, and it's has a number of charter members that are still with it today. It's been very stable over the years, and the advantage to me is the opportunity to get to meet a lot of different businesses and business persons in different professions, and learn about things that they can do that can help me or my clients, and get them to know a little bit about my business as well.
How long have you been a part of it?
Oh dear, my firm's been involved since it was founded, but I personally have been involved since something like 2011 or so.
We ought to clarify what it is that you actually do. You are an attorney, right?
Yes, sir. I'm an attorney at Thorpe, Purdy, Jewett. Been there since about 2000.
And what is your particular bent on the law? Are you criminal? Or are you tort? Or are you business? Or are you contract? What's your...
I do mostly business transactions and a little bit of litigation and real property and other areas of the law.
Yeah. So in a situation like yours, then what, as you're a part of the McKenzie Business Association, then typically folks that are using your services from the MBA are doing what?
It could be anything. My firm is a general practice firm, and so the members of the McKenzie Business Association, like anybody else in the community, they come from all walks of life, and they've got different needs. There might be a member that's having a divorce, and so they'd see one of the divorce attorneys in my firm, or they have an estate planning need, and they'd see an estate planning attorney. But the ones that I typically tend to see would see me for their business needs.
Right.
Dan, you heard the definition that Lance had. Anything that you would add?
Well, I think it's really a great wealth of knowledge to know the people in that group and network them. You can use it as just some advice in some instances to providing services and goods for other people in the group. It's kind of nice because we all meet every Tuesday morning, so you get to sit down and eat breakfast together and form relationships. A lot of people that have been in the group, like Lance said, have been in there since it began. Marshall's is one of the charter members also. I wasn't around for that because I was about 4 at the time, but they it's
not an excuse. Really.
No, I was late.
Yeah, really.
So.
Man.
Of the interaction, what percentage is professional and business oriented, and what is personal and more friend on friend?
I think it kind of blends together. A lot of the working relationships we have with each other do turn into friendships and other types of relationships over the years.
For somebody that maybe is curious about kind of finding out if their industry or occupation would be a good fit or could be included at the table, How do you go about finding it? How do you go researching it?
We actively recruit people to try to join our group. We invite people in to see if it's a model that would fit for their business, and then if they are approved by our board, then we do add them to the group. One unique thing about our group is it is exclusivity, so you do not have competing businesses in the group. You have basically somebody from every different type of field or profession.
Is that not the case in most network groups like this?
I really don't know, because I've only really been involved in the McKinsey Business Association.
So, if you were going to make your pitch to somebody's sitting out there and like, okay, well, I'm on the fence. Maybe I'll do it. Maybe I won't. What's the pitch, Lance, that you're going to make? What are you going to say that's going to close the case, so to speak?
Well, frankly, I'd let our group speak for itself, and if they're interested in coming, they could Google the McKinsey Business Association website and speak to our Executive Secretary, Mickey Waters, and or if they know one of us that's a member, ask for an invite. We'd love to have you come and see us and sit down for breakfast and meet the persons that are there. I think we have a great group, and the fact that many of us have been together for so long a period of time, we've formed really great relationships, and we have a relationship of trust and respect, and we do our very best for each other as a result.
Are there other social events besides the breakfast? Do you guys have any additional?
Yeah, we do several times a year. We'll do an open house where one of the members will host an event in the evening, kind of get to know that business a little bit better, get to go to their place of business, see what they've got, and from time to time we'll do other little events. We're involved right now in a fundraiser, I believe, for the auction that's coming up with the Springfield Chamber of Commerce, who's also a member of our group as well.
M's game.
Yeah, the M's games. We'll do an M's night every once in a while. So,
okay, big question. Can you quantify how much business, say, in the last year or so has come through the network?
Well, we weekly post it in our bulletin of monies generated within the group weekly, and I think last couple of weeks we've been looking at six-figure numbers.
Over how long?
2-week periods.
Wow.
Some weeks it's only $500, but it's a pretty big generator. Myself, because I'm in the air conditioning business, I'm a pretty popular kid around there this time of year.
Yeah, I bet. Lance, anything to add to what Dan had?
No, it's just been, like I said, a great opportunity to get together with other business persons and explore ways that we can help each other. And a lot of times, for instance, if Dan comes to me and he needs help with something that maybe I don't know or nobody in my firm does, we often know somebody that does, and so we can refer each other to somebody that might be better suited to meet each other's needs. Like I said, it's to me, it's knowing that other professionals and other professions that you can work with and you can trust.
If somebody wants to get information on the McKinsey Business Association, how about contact information, a website, telephone number?
The website is mbaleads.com, and the phone number is 541-914-5256, and that would get you to our Executive Secretary, Mickey Waters.
What mornings are the breakfasts?
Tuesday mornings.
Tuesday at what time?
7:30.
7:30. All right. Lance, Dan, thank you so much.
6:30, excuse me.
Thanks for coming in. Lance Lefevre from Thorpe, Purdy & Jewett, and Dan Giarusso from Marshall's Heating and AC, and, of course, representing the McKinsey Business Association. Hey, that's it for us. We got to run, but tomorrow, last day before Mr. Bill departs for London. London doing London, and he's ready to go.
God, I've not heard that before.
I think he's probably
the only one that said that.
left mentally a week ago, but he'll be here tomorrow. Right?
Yeah. Well, all my censoring device just about dropped there, so yeah, I guess you could say it's 1 foot out the door.
Okay.
Just about to call you on something, but okay.
Okay.
I guess Marshall was listening.
All right. We'll see you tomorrow, 6:05.
Tune in to Real Estate Today, weekdays at 5:30 p.m.
I'm Bob Nelson.
And I'm Marcia Edwards of the Real Estate Today Show. We've been standing next to Mark Brockett of Willamette Valley Bank Home Loan Division. He is an amazing lender for residential loans.
He has an opportunity to take a look at your situation, identify, but for instance, should you refinance? It could save you a lot of money for a number of years to come. Fantastic.
That's Mark Brockett. Call him today.
You can reach Mark at 541-431-0236. That's Willamette Valley Bank Home Loan Division at 3007 North Delta, Suite 205.
At Denture Masters, I had 28 crowns in 2 days and came out with a different smile. I was subconsciously hiding my smile, and now it's just natural for me to smile. I was expecting that I would just have denture, Dr. Ridley, and he said, no, you don't. You need 28 crowns. We can do that here. We have the system to do it. So I walked out just totally transformed.
We do it all right here. That's the Denture Masters difference.
If you have sleep apnea and you're tired of dragging around your big, bulky home CPAP device wherever you travel, what I'm about to tell you may sound too good to be true. MiniCPAP.com now offers a portable device that's as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. Even better, you can try Transcend absolutely risk-free for a full 10 days. Call us now, 1-800-300-1810. Transcend is the world's first portable mini CPAP device. It gives you the freedom to sleep in total comfort anywhere you are. For even more freedom, you can add a battery that's as tiny as a deck of cards. Transcend is so small and so light you can fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. It's FAA compliant too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. It's true. You can enjoy the freedom to sleep comfortably anywhere, anytime you want. Call minicpap.com now for your 10-day in-home trial. 1-800-300-1810. That's 1-800-300-1810.
I have to get to sleep.
Tom had a stressful day, and now he can't shut down at bedtime.
Need sleep.
To fall asleep fast, millions of people turn to Unisom sleep gels. They're non-habit forming and quickly help you sleep soundly so you wake recharged. Tom? Unisom sleep gels. A stressful day deserves a restful night. Use as directed. Active ingredient diphenhydramine hydrochloride.
Neighborhoods all over the country are on high alert after another one has gone missing. Taylor Alloway is on the scene.
Despite the best efforts of law enforcement, the criminals remain at large. I spoke with the police moments ago.
96 elephants are lost every day. We just don't have enough of a force to protect them all against poaching.
At the rate they're disappearing, there will be no elephants left to lose in 10 years.
And that's a crime against us all. Stop the ivory trade. Fight the crime. Go to 96elephants.org.
News Radio 1120 KPNW.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. A batch of surprising earnings have lifted global stocks today, sending the S&P toward a record. Macy's reported profit that beat estimates and announced plans to close about 100 stores, or 14% of its locations. Deutsche Telekom says second quarter profit rose almost 9%. Give the credit to the U.S. unit, T-Mobile, where sales have been surging. T-Mobile has been luring subscribers from other American carriers without squeezing the company's bottom line. It is another sign that America's job market is hot. Workers are in no mood to stick around too long while businesses make up their mind about hiring them. Almost 1 of every 4 employees loses interest in an opening if they don't hear back from a prospective employer within a week of being interviewed. That's according to a survey by staffing firm Robert Half. And speaking of jobs, the number of Americans filing for unemployment benefits held near 4-decade lows, according to the Labor Department. Jobless claims last week dropped by 1,000 to 266,000. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg
Fox
Radio.
News, fair and balanced. We report, you decide. On News Radio 1120 KPNW, Eugene, Springfield.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lisa Brady.
The last thing you want is 4 more years of Obama.
But Donald Trump says that's exactly what Hillary Clinton would be as she prepares to lay out her economic plan next hour.
She doesn't have the talent to do it. And if she wanted to do it, just remember this, and I think very importantly, if she wanted to do it, She couldn't because her donors wouldn't let her.
Trump telling a home builders group in Miami Beach moments ago that his plan to cut taxes and regulations would help the middle class. Clinton says the Trump plan would help billionaires like him.
Clinton's speech at a manufacturing company outside Detroit is expected to focus on job development, tax policy, and improving the nation's infrastructure. She's also set to attack Trump's economic plan, which he unveiled earlier this week in Detroit, as a handout for the rich that will hurt the economy.
Fox Radio's Rachel Sutherland in Washington. The Pentagon says experts sometimes disagree, reacting to a congressional report that intel on ISIS was manipulated. Fox Radio's John Decker is live at the White House.
The House Republican Task Force report found that officials from the U.S. Military Central Command skewed intel reports to make it seem as if the war against ISIS and al-Qaeda was going much better than it really was. Kansas Republican Congressman Mike Pompeo told Fox News that the report substantiates claims made by 50 whistleblowers at CENTCOM.
Senior analysts were providing data up to the very top of the intelligence community inside of CENTCOM, and they were changing that data.
The 5-month investigation found no conclusive evidence that the White House ordered the reports to be doctored. Lisa?
Thanks, John. Officials in Maryland just confirming at least 2 deaths in a late-night explosion and fire that injured at least 30 in a Maryland apartment complex, leaving several others unaccounted for, and the search hampered by the instability of what's left of those buildings in Silver Spring. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Prices are for base buildings only and may not be available in some areas. This is an alert. If your business or church is building this year, you're about to pay more than you should. This could mean thousands of dollars more for your office, retail space, church, or warehouse. So call General Steel now for the quality and the price in a pre-engineered steel building that you just can't beat. That's right, General Steel can save you thousands of dollars with a pre-engineered steel building designed for your business or church. How much can you save? How about a 50 by 100 foot building for under $35,000? So don't pay thousands more than you should without calling General Steel first. Call 800-98-STEEL today and save as much as half the cost and time of conventional construction. Don't let rising steel prices put your project in jeopardy. Call now to lock in your price for 3 months. Call 800-98-STEEL. That's 800-98-STEEL. Don't spend thousands more than you should. Call 800-987-8335.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Deb Carson.
Well, the medal count continues to grow for the Americans. 11 gold, 32 overall. 3 of those gold medals belong to 19-year-old Katie Ledecky. The swimmer won her 3rd medal of the Rio Games, 3rd gold that is, anchoring the 4x200-meter freestyle relay team to victory. Both USA basketball teams remain undefeated. USA men survived Australia 98-88. USA women ripped Serbia 110-84. Last night in Major League Baseball action, the NL East leading Washington Nationals topped the Indians 7-4. AL West leading Rangers held off the Rockies 5-4. Cubs beat the Angels 3-1. Chicago's now 1-9 in a row. They lead the majors with 71 wins. Cardinals edged the Reds 3-2, while the Marlins lost to the Giants 1-0. St. Louis moved back into a tie with Miami for the final wild card spot in the National League.
Tune in to News Talk 1120 KPNW from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. for Do It Yourself Saturday, brought to you by Redwood Northwest. Everything is better with Redwood. Tables, benches, garden boxes, and beds. Do It Yourself Saturday, 9 to 3 on KPNW.
You're independent and want to stay that way, but you'd like some friendship and security. Consider Eugene's elegant yet affordable retirement living, Turpentine Terrace. At Turpentine Terrace, friendships grow through activities, the all-day restaurant-style dining, and the warm community environment. The large studio, 1-bedroom, and 2-bedroom apartments are the best value in Eugene. They have a secure parking garage and are near excellent retail stores. Call for a free tour and lunch, 689-0619. Turpentine Terrace, a tremendous time of life.
The Thirsty Thursday Tour is on the move.
And next Thursday, the 18th, we'll be at Sam's Place on Wilson. Hey, it's Rob Holloway from the Wake Up Call on KPNW. If you've never been to Sam's Place, this would be a great time to do it because we have simply too much to give away. Every 15 minutes, we'll be giving away cool things like neon beer lights and passes to the Little Woody Beer Fest. And thanks to Widmer Brothers Craft Beers, we'll be getting amply refreshed and hydrated.
You're officially invited to another Thirsty Thursday.
Thursday the 18th, Sam's Place on Wilson with 1120 KPNW.
Sun Automotive is proud to sponsor the Northwest edition of Lars Larson. Sun Automotive with locations in Eugene and Springfield reminds you, stay safe on the road, keep your car well maintained, and don't text and drive. Sun Automotive. The 2016 Swinging for a Cure Golf Scramble to benefit Susan G. Komen Foundation is Sunday, August 21st at Emerald Valley Golf Course. The cure for cancer is just a swing away if we all chip in. This 4-person scramble tees off at 9 a.m. with a shotgun start. To register, call Rhonda at 541-342-7820. Sponsors include Olson Industrial Electric, Remax Lynn Gately Team, and Oregon Sport and Spine. So break out your clubs and register now for the Swinging for a Cure Golf Scramble, Sunday, August 21st, 541-342-7820.
It's 9:06 and time for Rush. Rush Limbaugh on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
You know, there's a lot of things that amaze me every day, folks. I'm still young enough that I get amazed over stuff. You know what amazes me is this Hillary Clinton email story will not go away. Now, this is the kind of story that I tried to take something that was really in the weeds, complicated yesterday. I synthesized it down to its bare essence. And even as I was telling you about it, I thought, man, this is going to be impossible for people to follow. Names they've never heard of, concepts that seem dubious. And I really don't know what impact it's having out there, but I do know that it's not going away. Even in the drive-by media, they're talking about this email story and the variations of it. They're not trying to bury it. They are maybe trying to relegate it to secondary, tertiary status, but it's still out there. Anyway, greetings, folks. Great to have you. 800-282-2882 if you want to be on the program. How many of you had heard at the time James Comey did his press conference detailing all of the criminal activity or quasi-criminal activity Mrs. Clinton engaged in and all the lies that she had told publicly, and then saying, but there's not enough here to actually pursue a prosecution. No reasonable prosecutor would pursue on the basis of what we've got. Even though he indicted her. It was a public indictment of Mrs. Clinton's behavior regarding her emails and her server. And then remember people saying, but hey, Rush, don't worry, because they're also looking into the Clinton Crime Family Foundation. He didn't say anything about that. That's right. The FBI is looking into the Clinton Crime Family Foundation. So people said, yeah. And we know there's scandal there. And so what are they going to turn? What turns out, the FBI was not looking into the Crime Family Foundation. It turns out that the FBI hasn't done one thing on the Clinton Crime Family Foundation. You know why? Because the DOJ, the Obama Justice Department, told them to pack it in. They told them, we're not interested. We're not going to do anything with what you turn up. And so if you're the FBI, so, well, heck, I mean, we can't arrest, we can't indict. And if we're being told by the DOJ that there's nothing we can show them they're going to do anything with, then we're going to stand down. There hasn't been any investigation of Clinton Crime Family Foundation. And that news just popped up today. And the Clinton Crime Family Foundation is where a lot of really questionable, scandal-ridden behavior has taken place. Whether it's criminal or not, you know, that's what an investigation would turn up. With the Clintons, the odds are that it is. But folks, here again, the benefit of experience. I have been hosting this program. We're starting our 29th year. And for almost all of these 29 years, there have been repeated Clinton scandals. There have been large ones. There have been medium-sized ones. There have been blockbuster Clinton scandals. And it doesn't seem to me, as I look back over the whole period of time, that any of these scandals have actually done much damage. Bill Clinton served both of his terms. He then left office and got filthy rich trading on the power that he had as president, selling access to himself and to his wife. His wife is now the Democrat presidential nominee. They have both become filthy rich, and yet they've done this with near constant attention on all the scandals that they have engaged in. And it doesn't seem to have harmed them. Doesn't seem, in terms of the general population of the country, it doesn't seem that there has been any noticeable damage in terms of their reputation, trustworthiness. I will say that Hillary's negatives are very, very high. They're way above 50%. People don't trust her, but she's still the Democrat nominee. And if you believe the polls, she is still leading in the polls. And despite all the news that has turned up about her, all of the disqualifying things, all of the scandals, all of the negatives, she still survives. The fact that she can't sell books, that she can't draw crowds to her books, she can't draw crowds to her campaign events, that she obviously has some health problems. And by the way, there's a Rasmussen poll out that, 59, what's the number? 59% of the American people want to see her health records. That's never going to happen, by the way. But 59% of the people want to see her health records because a lot of people are very much aware that she's got some health problems. They have been seen. She can't hide them all. People are understandably curious, but she's still the Democrat nominee. And she still has the drive-by media fully behind her 100%. So I'm wondering, is the pursuit of Clinton's scandal the way to go on these people? I'm not going to stop detailing the information as we learn it, but is disqualifying Hillary Clinton as a candidate, is that the way to beat her, is the question. As opposed to maybe spending some time on the disastrous policy she wants to continue? I know that doesn't seem to have had much impact either. The policies are Obama's, and somehow he's escaped any attachment to them. And she wants to continue them. Will she continue to benefit as Obama has from no accountability? She's to blame for a lot of things. You made the latest Trump controversy. They're saying Obama founded ISIS. And people have had Trump on, they've talked to Trump. You want to walk that back? Don't you really mean to say that it was Obama's negligence in getting out of Iraq that established the circumstances for ISIS to begin and flourish? No, he founded ISIS. He and Hillary founded ISIS. Mr. Trump, don't you really kind of want to walk that back and rephrase? No, he founded ISIS. He's not walking it back. He's saying, I'm telling the truth. This is what it looks like in America today, in our current political and news media system. This is what telling the truth looks like. The truth appears to be so outrageous because we've had so many years of BS sufficing as the truth that when somebody actually utters the truth, it's just unacceptable. It's outrageous. How dare you? But I'm not backing off of it, he says. And I'm going to continue to do it. That's what I'm here to do. It did me pretty well in the primaries, and I'm going to keep doing it. He will not walk back the fact that Obama founded ISIS. Now, we all know, those of us, and you in the audience, of course, we know exactly what he's talking about. And he's right. Now, Obama didn't go over there and convene a meeting and have negotiations with the ISIS leaders. His name's not on any founding documents or any of that. But Trump is saying what he's saying, hoping to shock people into realizing just who Obama is, because the point is, since Obama became president, terrorism is expanding around the world. It's expanding. The Middle East was, well, you can never say the Middle East was relatively peaceful, but it's on fire now as a result of Obama and Hillary Clinton policy. Whether there are scandals involved in that policy, who knows, such as the reason for Benghazi being to fund guns to the Syrian rebels. Who knows? Pretty good bet on that, too. So the question becomes, how many people are going to learn of these scandals, and how many people are going to actually learn of all the vulnerabilities that Hillary and Obama have? But Trump, obviously, serious about continuing to tell the truth as he sees it, as he understands it, as he wants people to know it. And let's look at the result of that. Let's assess, as they say, the situation on the ground. Every time Trump opens his mouth with something, the drive-bys go into their predictable, hysterical, unbelievable reaction to it. They say Trump's unfit. This is the entire Democrat Party case, by the way. Trump gave an economic speech that in and of itself was very good in terms of what the country needs. But there is no such in and of itself analysis in the drive-by media or elsewhere. They have to portray Trump as this raging lunatic, maniac, dangerous, incompetent, unfit. And that is their entire campaign. They do not dare they don't tackle any of us on the issues. They always try to disqualify anybody on the right who is effective at anything, effective at communicating, effective at getting votes, effective at winning elections. They become targeted for destruction. In fact, you know who Seth Lipsky is, Mr. Snerdley? Seth Lipsky is the husband of Amity Shlaes, the former Wall Street Journal. She's expert on the Great Depression. She's written a couple books on it. And he himself is a renowned conservative intellectual. And he has a piece in the New York Post today that is just, I mean, bullseye. Here's the headline: liberal attacks on Trump are so unhinged it might get him killed. Meaning that the left here, including the media, echoing the ridiculous assertions that Hillary is making. He's unfit. He's this and that. You know, we're always told. Hell, we're not told. We're accused. Whenever somebody shoots up a movie theater, what do? Try to first find out if the guy listens to Rush Limbaugh. Then they try to find out if he listens to talk radio. Then they try to find out if he's Tea Party. They do everything they can to try to convince people that the gun nuts, as they describe them, who commit these mass murders are somehow tied to right-wingers. And it turns out they never are. They're always attached to fringe progressive movements, if anything. And then they chide us. And they blame, for example, Gabby Giffords. Sarah Palin was accused of being responsible for Gabby Giffords being shot because on her website she had a graphic of crosshairs in a rifle scope. And that was said to unhinge people looking at her website and inspiring them to want to go out and shoot Gabby Giffords. Well, Seth Lipsky is turning that around here in the New York Post and accusing the Democrats and the media with some of their outrageous charges and claims of Trump of actually doing the same thing. I mean, the headline again: liberal attacks on Trump are so unhinged it might get him killed, and he backs it up. We'll share the details with you as the program unfolds. But all Trump is doing is telling the truth the way he speaks. And within the confines of our political system that have evolved over the decades, where propriety and impropriety are clearly denoted, Trump is outside the bounds of propriety. And as such, he's unfit, he's unsuited, he's dangerously perhaps deranged and all of this. But yet what has been inserted into the debate because of what Trump has said? Well, a Muslim terrorist who targeted gays at a nightclub in Orlando, the Pulse nightclub, that terrorist, Omar Mateen, his crazy terrorist dad, who professes love for Hillary Clinton, shows up at one of her rallies, sitting right behind her, carrying big signs. This has been discovered. It's pointed out. What's the reaction? The drive-bys. You can't say that Hillary had anything to do with the guy. You can't blame Hillary for that. You can't use this guilt by association business, even though this guy's out singing her praises, saying he was invited to show up, that's what Democrats mean, and that's what democracy means, that he's free to go wherever he goes, plus he was invited. I dare say that story would not have been much at all. Then we have Hillary's oft-stated desire to ditch the Second Amendment and remove as many guns from homes as she can, and Trump is highlighting that. That's his Second Amendment, people. I don't know. You gotta be that is out in the domain. It's out in the public domain. It's no question that Hillary Clinton has often stated her desire, even her willingness to use executive actions to stop gun violence if necessary. But the only thing Hillary Clinton can do, the only thing the left can do where guns are concerned, is take them away from law-abiding people. That's all they can do, and they want to, by the way, folks. So that's being discussed, despite the fact that Trump is unsuitable, he's unfit, he's intemperate, he's just dangerous. These things are out there being discussed when they normally are glossed over and covered up, or the people who say them are so shamed that they shut up. Trump does not shut up. He doubles down. He keeps the debate in the public domain. Left is not used to it. Democrats are not used to it. Politically correct people are not used to it. Trump says, I'm going to keep going. This is what the truth sounds like. This is what the truth looks like. This is how strange the truth seems to so many people because it's been covered up for so long. Now, Trump's comment about Obama founding ISIS. There is a very smelly, and there have been some very, very crazy, cozy decisions made by this administration that have led to the rather sudden blooming of this terrorist group. We abandon Iraq. We make idle threats in the Middle East and don't follow up on them. We allow our people to get killed in the Middle East, in Benghazi, and don't avenge it and don't even try to stop it. So our enemies are free to continue marching. And our administration won't even call them by their actual name. He will not even refer to them as militant Islamic terrorists. What do you think they're going to do? They're continuing to march. Many people would have been intimidated and threatened into shutting up about it, but not Trump. After an entire Democrat convention without one mention of the Clinton family. Here's a Democrat convention where they tried to make it out like Mrs. Clinton is the most charitable, the most loving, the most caring. She has built her career on doing things for children, and they wouldn't even mention what they do at the Clinton Crime Family Foundation, which is the focal point of their charity. So now that pops up in the news today. All of this stuff popping up in the news because somebody is continuing to talk about it and keep it out there. I got to take a break now. I hate it when I have to interrupt myself, but I can't help it.
Conservative icon since 1951. Rush on the EIB network.
You've heard me refer to Mahindra as the toughest tractors on earth, and I mean every word of that. Now, when other tractors cut corners by using cheap plastic fenders, not Mahindra, they use real steel. When other tractors offer wimpy warranties, only Mahindra offers a full 7-year limited powertrain warranty. Now, you heard me right on that. Not 5 years, not 6 years, a full 7 years on select models. That is the industry's best warranty by a long shot. No wonder Mahindra has 97% customer satisfaction and continues to be the world's #1 selling tractor. So when you're ready to work smarter, not harder, with the toughest tractors on earth, see my good friends at Mahindra. Learn more at MahindraUSA.com.
Take advantage of rock-bottom prices and test drive a Mahindra today at All Seasons Equipment in Eugene, or visit allseasonsequipment.net. That's allseasonsequipment.net.
Hi, I'm Scott Carter, CEO of Lear Capital. For months now, Rush listeners have seen Lear on Fox News talking about another financial crisis. And we're seeing real evidence that something big is coming. Some of the world's largest banks are building huge stockpiles of physical gold and silver. Lots of it. J.P. Morgan bought 2,000 tons of silver, and Goldman Sachs bought over 7 tons of gold. Whether it's a major collapse in the financial markets or more money printing and runaway inflation, they're getting ready for something. It happened in 2001 and again in 2008. The markets crashed, and both times gold and silver prices skyrocketed. So isn't it time for you to get ready too? Call Lear Capital today for the industry's best research on the coming rise of gold and silver.
Why are big banks stockpiling gold and silver? Call 1-800-957-GOLD now for your free coming rise of gold and silver reports. Don't wait. The markets are more shaky now than ever. So call 1-800-957-4653. 800-957-4653. That's 1-800-957-GOLD.
When you donate paper, pencils, calculators, and backpacks to Sleep Train foster kids, you're just giving school supplies, right?
Not exactly. They're a lot more than that.
To a child in foster care, they're the tools they need to keep up in school and to do the best they can every day.
I got an A in math, reading, science.
To help, Sleep Train is collecting school supplies for foster kids from kindergarten to high school so they can stop worrying about school supplies and focus on school.
So I can be a veterinarian, a teacher, a cowgirl detective.
Bring your gift of school supplies to any Sleep Train location or donate online at sleeptrain.com and help a foster child make the most of every school day.
Not everyone can be a foster parent, but anyone can help a foster child.
Shopping for school supplies? Help other little learners get the tools they need to succeed. Bring your gift to Sleep Train or donate online at sleeptrainfosterkids.org.
Hi, I'm Eric Benson, General Sales Manager at Sutton RV, and I only come on the radio when something truly awesome is happening at the store, which is right now. George and Martha are traveling a bit, leaving, well, me in charge. So I'm doing some incredible deals. Cue the music! Like the 2016 Wildwood 261 bunkhouse. All the features you expect and the luxury you deserve. Quality and convenience built right here in Oregon. And now you can get this Wildwood for a low $14,999 with 0 down and just $131 a month at 3.99% financing for 12 years on approved credit at Oregon Community and Northwest Community Credit Unions. There are lots of other special deals just waiting for you. Now more than ever, you need to start with a stop at Sutton RV. Come see us in Eugene today and see how much you can save while I still have the keys to the store.
Hey there, it's Lars Larson. Join me at my new time for my national show, starting weeknights at 6:05 on 1120 KPNW.
That's right, my friends, the truth. The truth has been so suppressed, so buried under the avalanche of political correctness that when somebody speaks it, anywhere, not just Trump, when anybody speaks the truth, it makes people shudder. Oh, my God, you're not supposed to say that. Oh, no, you're not supposed to say that. This is what it looks like. Trump says the things you're not supposed to say. In his mind, are the truth. That's what he says he's doing, speaking the truth. The truth has been covered up. Truth has been buried. Truth has been so reshaped, made to look like public opinion, popular opinion, that it's been obscured. It's the truth itself, even as a concept, has been corrupted. Somebody comes along and articulates it. Oh my God, oh no, you can't say that, People shudder. I didn't say it. Don't associate me with it. People even are afraid to agree with it sometimes. Even though they do. They are afraid to publicly acknowledge they agree with it. Such is the fear. In fact, the truth is such a thing. The longer the truth is buried, the more it is corrupted. The more somebody who comes along and actually has the courage to utter the truth is going to be feared, going to be hated, going to be disliked. Oh my God, this is a troublemaker. And that's what the Clintons and the Obamas, the Democrats, are trying to do in terms of casting Trump. He says he's not going to stop. We shall see.
From the KPNW News Center, here's what's going on. The city of Eugene is moving ahead with the purchase of eWeb's downtown riverfront property. There is no set price, nor is there a sale date. While the city agreed in principle to purchase the property a while ago, issues began to crop up. One of the main sticking points had to do with contamination on the site. eWeb has since agreed to identify areas on the 17-acre site that have been polluted and clean them up. Once the sale is complete, the city hopes to turn around and sell the property to a developer. Authorities are investigating an incident involving a Medford officer who was injured after crashing into another vehicle during a pursuit of a suspect who later crashed his vehicle, killing one person. Officer Andrew Galt suffered non-life-threatening injuries. The two occupants of the vehicle he struck sustained minor injuries. A Corvallis man was arrested for doing something we may have experienced with our parents or an older sibling. 26-year-old Ibrahim Mohammed Siala allegedly was purposely swerving his vehicle in traffic to entertain his kids when he lost control and went into a ditch. He was arrested on reckless driving and reckless endangering. Bill London, KPNW.
Ductless, ductless, ductless. It's an option, but it's not your only option. Contact Pacific Air Comfort, your local Carrier factory authorized dealer, to explain the problems with your home or business's heating and cooling system. Turn to the experts, and their professional staff will listen and offer you a good, better, and best solution for your heating and cooling system that addresses your needs. Let them make you Pacific Air comfortable with new Carrier equipment. Pacific Air Comfort. Quality system design, quality Carrier equipment, quality installation, and outstanding 24/7 service and repairs. Visit PacificAirComfort.com. That's PacificAirComfort.com. Or call 541-342-5300. That's 541-342-5300 to receive Pacific Air Comfort's award-winning service today.
Hey, flatbed truck drivers. You want to bring more home to Mama and be home most weekends? Gifford Trucking in Junction City has openings for over-the-road truckers driving new trucks and running the I-5 corridor. You'll earn 50 cents a mile. You'll get additional pay for extra drops and picks and the occasional tarping, plus 100% health insurance after 60 days and 1 week paid vacation after 1 year. You're going to need a valid CDL, a good driving record, a current medical card, 2 years driving experience, and some flatbed experience. Gifford Trucking has been trucking out of Junction City for 30 years. So take down this number, 541-998-1720, and ask for Larry. Don't wait. Call 541-998-1720. 541-998-1720 and ask for Larry. Gifford Trucking is an equal opportunity employer.
I have to get to sleep.
Tom had a stressful day, and now he can't shut down at bedtime.
Need sleep.
To fall asleep fast, millions of people turn to Unisom sleep gels. They're non-habit forming and quickly help you sleep soundly so you wake recharged. Tom? Unisom sleep gels. A stressful day deserves a restful night. Use as directed. Active ingredient diphenhydramine hydrochloride.
Neighborhoods all over the country are on high alert after another one has gone missing. Taylor Alloway is on the scene.
Despite the best efforts of law enforcement, the criminals remain at large. I spoke with the police moments ago.
96 elephants are lost every day. We just don't have enough of a force to protect them all against poaching.
At the rate they're disappearing, there will be no elephants left to lose in 10 years.
And that's a crime against us all. Stop the ivory trade. Fight the crime. Go to 96elephants.org.
Your 24-hour news, weather, and information station. News Radio 1120 KPNW.
You remember the hack, Democrat National Committee computer network revealed by WikiLeaks? The hack that revealed the Democrat National Committee rigging the primaries against Bernie Sanders, rigging the entire primaries for Hillary Clinton to win. It turns out that hack was much bigger. It was much broader and much wider in scope. The New York Times is very worried now because many other Democrats and many other things were hacked, and whoever did the hack has all of those things in their possession now. So now this has given rise to fears of an October surprise. And it's led others to speculate, well, if the DNC network was hacked, certainly Hillary's homebrew server was. And so everybody's worried about what is to come on the Democrat side. I checked the email during a break, and somebody wants an explanation on why the FBI cannot investigate the Clinton Foundation, even if the DOJ says, well, people are saying, I didn't know that the FBI had to get permission from the DOJ to investigate things. It's not that, folks. The way it works is this. The FBI can do preliminary investigations and poke around some on their own on anything. But for any investigation to go anywhere, meaning indictments, subpoenas, grand juries, the DOJ has to sign off on it. The Department of Justice, you've got to assign a prosecutor to the case. Well, I don't care what you produce, we're not going to do anything with it. They have to shut it down. They have to stop. And that is exactly what happened. The Department of Justice, the so-called Public Integrity Division, told the FBI, we're not interested. We have no desire for you to dig up anything in the Clinton Foundation. We don't want to know what's going on there. We don't think anything is going on there. And if there is, we don't want to know. And that's why there's no investigation. All this time, people have been under the impression that the FBI had a parallel investigation going of the Clinton Crime Family Foundation along with Hillary Clinton's emails and her server and all that. Not true. And there won't be an investigation of the Clinton Crime Family Foundation. All there will be is information revealed, but so far it's two groups. And their work that's producing any kind of public record of the Clinton Foundation and the nefarious pay-for-play schemes going on there. Judicial Watch, which is Tom Fitton, and Citizens United. And it was Freedom of Information Act requests that produced 44 emails the FBI said they couldn't find because they didn't do anything besides investigate Hillary's server. Well, these people asked for FOI requests for Cheryl Mills and Huma Abedin. They were the recipients of emails from Hillary, and lo and behold, there's 44 of them that they found. And they found all kinds of pay-for-play. What this means is you contribute, and the Clintons will do something for you. You contribute to the foundation, the Clintons will respond in kind with policy favorable to you, either as Secretary of State or on the come as our next president. And that's been going on. The Clintons have sold, and all of this from the Clinton standpoint, forget ideology for a moment. This is usually, most of this has been done so that the Clintons can personally acquire massive wealth. Yeah, they're a couple liberals. Yeah, they're big progressives. Yeah, they got grand designs on the country, but most of this is about them getting rich, personally rich, by virtue of these donations. And the DOJ has just told the FBI, we're not interested in any of that. We don't care what a Nigerian banker might have gotten from the Clintons because of his donation to their foundation. We're not interested in learning if any crimes have taken place there. So the FBI can't do anything about it. So it's up to citizens groups, using whatever tools at their disposal,